In the next few hours, we are going to learn a lot about the Python programming language with the help of the examples and Python programs as well. While you are watching this video, please make sure that you pause this video and practice on your own so that on different inputs you get different output, and that is how you are going to learn about the Python programming language. You can also watch my other Python tutorial and Python program videos which are available for free on YouTube. The link to those playlists I have given in the description section below. And we are going to cover all the basics about the Python programming language. So let's get started. Python tutorial for beginners. So if you are completely new to programming languages and want to start with the Python programming language, then this video series is for you, and it doesn't matter even if you have learned the other programming languages such as Java, C, C++, and if you are going to learn the Python language for the first time, you can watch these videos so that we can get started from the completely beginner level and we reach up to the intermediate and expert level as we go through the different concepts of the Python programming language. So guys, first of all, we are going to check the environment setup using the Python language, and we are going to use the VS Code as the editor. Now over here VS stands for Visual Studio, and we are going to use the Visual Studio Code editor in order to write our Python programs. Apart from this VS Code setup, we are also going to see how do we write the first Python code and execute it. So guys, basically I have written down the steps to install the VS Code editor and Python interpreter over here. So first of all, we are going to install VS Code using this link that I have already provided in the description section. So when you hit this URL in the browser, this is the page that is going to open from where you can easily download the Visual Studio Code. It depends on your operating system which installer you want to download. You can also download for Windows, Mac OS and Linux systems over here. So it depends on your operating system. Once you have downloaded this and installed the VS Code on your machine, the next step is to install Python extension in VS Code. So guys, once you have installed the Visual Studio Code, this is the get started page that you will see in the Visual Studio Code IDE. So over here, first of all, you are supposed to install the Python extension. So on the left hand side, as you can see, there is an extensions button over here on which you can click, and then this particular section will open. So over here in the search bar, you are supposed to type Python. So once you type Python, there will be list of extensions that will be available for you. So guys, this is the extension that you have to install over here. So as you can see, Python, IntelliSense, PyLens, and this is the description that you can see on the right hand side. So since I have already installed this Python extension on this Visual Studio Code, I am getting this uninstall button, but you will be getting the install button over here if you have not already installed this particular extension. Now guys, this Python extension helps us in order to write the Python programs very efficiently. It allows us to have the code completion feature. Along with this, we can also run the Python code and have the output from within the Visual Studio Code itself. So guys, it is very important extension if you are going to learn Python and want to write the Python programs. Now guys, coming to the next step, we have to install the Python interpreter using this link that I have already provided in the description. So once you open this URL in the browser, over here this is the page that will open for you, and this is the official website of the Python programming language from where you can download the latest version for Windows over here. Since my machine is Windows, I will be downloading this Python, and the latest version is 3.11.1. It might so happen that you are watching this video in the future for which the latest version might be something else. So you can download the latest version of the Python interpreter from here. Apart from this, you can also get the links to the installer if you are using some other operating system over here. So guys, once you have installed Python on your machine, you can quickly open command prompt. So over here in the command prompt, you can simply type py followed by double hyphen characters, and then you provide version, and then when you press enter, as you can see, Python 3.11.1. this is the version of Python that is already installed on my machine. You might have some separate version, but the command will be same in order to check whether the Python is successfully installed on your machine. Now guys, after successful installation, what you have to do is, the last step is to connect this Python interpreter in VS Code. So we select the Python interpreter in VS Code. So over here, you have to come on this settings on the bottom left, and then over here you can see the command palette. You can also have the shortcut key as Control plus Shift plus P if you're using the keyboard keys. And then when you click on this, on the search bar you have to type Python and then colon, and then we have select interpreter. So as you can see, this is the option, and when you click on this, As you can see, this Python 3.11.1 is getting displayed over here, which you are supposed to select in order to select the Python interpreter. Now guys, what we are doing over here is we are connecting this Python interpreter with this Visual Studio Code so that whenever we write the Python code, our program gets executed successfully on the VS Code itself. Now guys, it might so happen that you don't get this option. That's because you have installed Python after installing VS Code. So you can simply restart this VS Code in order to get this option over here. And once you select this option, you are ready in order to write the Python programs in the VS Code IDE. So guys, just by using these 4 steps of installation, you can quickly get started in order to write the Python programs in the VS Code. And all the steps have been documented in this official documentation of the Visual Studio website. So you can check the content of this documentation as well. The link I have given in the description already. Now guys, we are going to write the first code in Python. So what we are going to do is we are just going to close these tabs over here and we are going to open this Explorer. Over here it is saying no folder opened initially. So what you can do is you can create the folder initially in order to organize all your Python programs. So basically I am going to just create a new folder over here and I am going to say Python. So this is the name of the folder and then I'll select this folder over here. So as you can see, a new folder that is Python has been created. Now you can write Python programs inside this Python folder. You can have any other folder in any of the directories. It depends on you where you want to store the Python codes that you will be writing from now on. So what we will be doing is, as you can see, this is the icon. It says new file. So we will be clicking on this new file and let's say I provide the name of the Python program as Python followed by underscore and then we have code followed by dot, we have py. So guys, this is very important that after typing the name of the file, we have to append it with .py. This is the extension of the Python program and this extension will help the VS Code in order to interpret that this is the Python code and it should execute this code using the Python interpreter. So guys, I am going to press enter over here and once we press enter, this Python code.py, it is going to open automatically over here. Now simply we can print some content in our Python program as the first code in Python. So over here we have something called as print statement. As you can see, once we type print, it is auto suggesting us what are the different keywords that we can use. So when we press enter over here, this print gets selected automatically. Now inside the open and close parenthesis, what we are supposed to do is we can type one particular statement, that is the name of the YouTube channel, that is Programming for Beginners, which you should definitely subscribe. So this is a string, that is a statement that we have given over here, and this is the very simple Python program that we can write. And what this will do is it will simply print this content, that is Programming for Beginners, on the console. So guys, over here you have to come on file and then you can click on save, or else you can use the Ctrl+S on the keyboard in order to save the file, which I am going to do in the upcoming videos as well. So first of all, you save this file and simply you have to come on this top right corner over here. You can see this Run Python File button over here. So when you click on this Run Python File, the terminal will open and it will execute this file, that is Python code.py, that we have simply created over here. And as you can see, Programming for Beginners string is getting printed. So guys, in this way we have written the very first code in the Python, and using the print statement we have printed the Programming for Beginners. We can print any other statement over here as well. So let's say I'll provide this is a statement. And then when we save this file and try running this code once again, as you can see, this is a statement is getting printed over here on the terminal. So guys, this is the way we can easily set up our Python interpreter along with the editor, that is Visual Studio Code. You can use any other editor that you want, such as you can simply use the Notepad file as well, but you will not get such strong features which are provided by the Visual Studio Code in the Notepad file. Apart from that, you can also use Notepad++, or we have a very popular IDE, that is PyCharm, and apart from that we have many other editors that you can use, but VS Code is one of the lightweight editors that you can use when you are writing the Python programs. Python variables, constants and literals. So guys, what are Python variables? So in programming, a variable is a container, that is a storage area to hold data. So as we have seen previously, a number is a variable and we can provide the value that is 10. So previously we had seen a string variable in which we had stored some statement, whereas we can also have the integer values being stored in the variables. So over here, if we move to our Visual Studio Code, so we can simply type number, that is the variable name, which can be assigned a value, so equal to 10. So this is nothing but an integer value being assigned to a variable which is named as a number. We can also have the string. So let's say programming for beginners. So we have programming for beginners as the string over here, which can be assigned to a variable, and the variable name can be given as str, or it can be also given as message, or any other name that you want to give while writing your Python program. So guys, these are nothing but variables which can be used later on in the program. Basically their functionality is to store some values. So in this case, number is storing the value that is 10, and this str variable is storing the value that is programming for beginners string. Now guys, it is very important to note that Python is a type inferred language, so you don't have to explicitly define the variable type. It automatically knows that 10 is an integer and declares the number variable as the integer. So guys, basically it depends on the value that we are providing. So just because you are typing number as the name of the variable, it doesn't mean that it has to be necessarily having the integer value. You can also have the string value as well. So when I copy this and paste this over here, the number will have programming for beginners. But guys, this doesn't make any sense over here, but programmatically this is also possible. That's because we don't have to provide any data type over here in the Python programs. So whatever the value is, data type will be given to that particular variable based on the value that is being provided to the variable. This is very important point as far as Python programs are concerned. In other programming languages such as Java or C++, we have a very strict data type that needs to be provided before we provide our variable names over here. And guys, this is also one of the advantages of using the Python program. It allows us to write the code quickly compared to other programming languages. Now guys, moving forward, what is the Python constant? So basically a constant is a special type of variable whose value cannot be changed. So for example, as you can see, the pi value is 3.14. So over here guys, before defining the constant variable, what we can do is, if we simply print this variable over here, that is print followed by number that is being given inside the parenthesis. I'll save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, programming for beginners is getting printed. That's because the value is given as programming for beginners. Let's say I provide the integer that is 20 over here, and then when I save this file and try running this code now, the number should have the value that is 20, and that is what should be printed. So as you can see, when we run this code, 20 is getting printed over here. So whatever value is being stored and whichever variable we want to print, the content of that variable will be printed. Now coming to the constants that we have just defined. So in Python, let's say if we provide pi equal to 3.14 over here. So instead of this number, we provide pi, it is equal to 3.14. I'll just remove this line of code and then simply I'll provide pi over here. So what will happen is, it will display this value that is 3.14. I'll save this file and try running this code now. As you can see, 3.14 is getting printed. But guys, what is the use of this constant? Basically, we are saying that pi is constant over here. That's because using this nomenclature, that is, the constant variable must have all the characters as the uppercase. So this can define that it is a constant over here. But is it actually a constant? No, in this case, since again we can use pi over here and we can provide some other values as well, such as 5.15 over here. So when I save this file and try running this code now, it is saying now that pi is having 5.15, which is the latest value. So guys, there is no concept of Python constants over here right now, but what we can do is we can save this value in some other file. So let's say I create another file over here and name it as constant followed by the extension that is .py over here. When we press enter, we can simply provide this statement that is pi equal to 3.14. I'll just copy this and paste this over here. So we have provided pi equal to 3.14. Now what we can do is, coming to this Python code, what we can do is we can use the import keyword. Now guys, this import keyword is used in order to import some other Python files into this file so that we can use the content of that other Python files over here. So we are going to import this constant.py in our Python code program. So import, we can say constant over here. So when we type constant, as you can see, constant is getting auto suggested over here. That's the very important feature of the IntelliSense, which is included in the Python extension that we had installed. So we provide constant over here, and what we have to do is, while printing, we can simply provide this constant over here, that is constant followed by dot, and then as you can see, pi is getting auto suggested. That's because we had defined pi over here. So we simply have to provide pi. So what will happen is, it will print the value of the pi. So when we save this file and try running this code now, once again, it says module constant has no attribute pi. So guys, that may be because we have not saved this file that is constant. Let me come over here and save this file over here once again, and I'll go to this Python code and then run this file once again. So as you can see now, 3.14 is getting displayed. So guys, if you want to use some constant values, you can have a separate file, that is constant.py, in which you can store all the constant variables. Let's say we have another variable over here, that is str, and then we provide string as the value. So this str can also be treated as a constant, for which the values never change while we are executing the code. I'll save this file over here, and let's say if I want to print the string as well, so I'll copy this line of code, paste this over here, and instead of pi, we will provide str now. So we provide constant.py and constant.str also. So when we save this file and try running this code now, we get both the things, that is 3.14, we get the string value as well. So if you want to use the constants in Python, you can have a separate file, all of the constants can be defined over there, and then you can import that constant file and use the various variables that you have defined as constant in order to write your Python programs. So guys, moving forward over here, what are Python literals? Literals are representations of fixed values in a program. They can be numbers, characters or strings, etc. For example, hello world is one of the literal, then 12 is another literal, 23.0 and then C character, true, false, etc. So guys, literals are nothing but these values. So basically this value, it is a literal. This particular name that we have given is the identifier, or also called as variable, but in this case it is a constant. Now this variable becomes constant when the value cannot be changed, but we can change this anytime in this code but not over here. An identifier can be a constant when we don't want to change its value anytime in our Python program. And again, this string value inside the double quotes, it is a literal. Python data types, in which numeric, string, list, tuple, set are included. So guys, these are the different data types that we can see in this video and the upcoming videos as well. So basically in computer programming, data types specify the type of data that can be stored inside a variable. So for example, number, it is equal to 24. So 24 value belongs to the numeric data type, and this is the integer value. Inside the numeric data type, we have many other data types such as integer value. Then we have float value as well, in which there is a decimal point. We have a complex value as well, in which, as you can see, this expression, that is 1 plus 2j, this is a complex expression. So all these are having numeric data types over here. So number over here is a numeric data type, or the integer. As you can see, 24 is the value. If it was 24.5, then we would say that number variable is of float data type. So guys, let us check this with the help of example. What we can do is, we can simply copy these lines of code over here. I'll copy this and we'll paste this over here. Now what we will do is, this constant.py that we had created previously, I'll just remove from our Python folder over here since it is no longer needed, and we will simply keep python code.py, where we are going to write all the programs over here. So guys, over here I'll simply replace the content of this file by this content. I'll save this file, and over here in the terminal I'll simply clear the screen. So as you can see, num1, it is defined as 5, which is the integer that is being assigned to num1. So the data type over here will be the integer data type, and using this print statement, what we are doing is, we are using this num1 and then followed by comma is of type, which means num1 will be printed, that is 5 will be printed, and then we will have is of type string being printed, and then type, this is another method that is being used in order to get the type of a variable. So as you can see, this is the syntax, that first we provide type and then followed by open and close parenthesis, and over here inside this we have num1, that is the variable name. Guys, similarly we have provided num2 as 2.0, and the same thing we are doing, that is we are finding the type over here, and then in the num3 as well we are getting the type of this num3 variable. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 5 is of type class int. So this is of the integer data type. 2.0, since it is having the decimal over here, it is saying it is of type float over here, and 1 plus 2j, it is of type complex over here. So these are all numeric data types, and inside the numeric data types, these are described as integer, float and complex values. Now apart from this guys, we have other data types as well, such as string that we had seen previously. We have list as well, tuple and set. So guys, let us check this one at a time. So over here what we will do is simply I'll provide str, and then I provide the str value as programming for beginners. So what we will do over here is we want to find the type of this str variable. So what we can do is we can simply have the print statement followed by open and close parenthesis, and we can simply have the type function. So guys, as you can see, type is being auto suggested over here. We will select this, and inside the open and close parenthesis we will use this variable. So I'll just copy this and paste this over here, that is str. And then when we save this file and try running this code now, as you can see, class, that is str, is getting printed over here. We can also have some string value over here. That is, first of all we are going to type str, that is the value of this str, and then followed by comma, and then we can simply have is of type inside the single quotes over here. Guys, it is very important that whenever you want to type certain characters, we should either have it inside the single quotes or double quotes, as we have seen over here. And then when we save this file and try running this code, it will show us the data type of this string with a more sensible statement. So as you can see, programming for beginners, this is the string value that we have given, and then is of type. Now this is of type we have provided over here, and then this type function, that is str, it is returning the type of this str variable, which is class str over here. So this is of string data type. Now guys, this str over here, it stands for string and not the name of this variable. If I provide here something else, then it will be more sensible. So let's say if I provide statement over here as the name, I'll copy this and paste this over here, and when we run this code once again, so as you can see, it says class str is of type class str. So since we have not replaced this str with the statement, that is why we are not getting it properly. I'll run this code once again now. So as you can see, programming for beginners, which is the value of this statement variable over here, and then is of type, and then we have class str over here. Now apart from this, we have other data types as well, such as list, which can be defined as the square brackets. So what we have to do is, let's say I provide list1 as the name of the variable, and then equal to, now guys, list is nothing but it is a data type that have collection of elements. So over here, let's say we have collection of strings. So let's say we have collection of fruits over here. So the first fruit is apple, followed by comma, and then again we have double quotes, and then we have mango. So all the elements are being separated using the comma over here, as you can see. And then let's say we have banana over here as the third fruit. So what we can do is we can simply have print statement over here, and then we can have type of this list1. So I'll say list1 over here. When we save this file and try running this code now, as you can see, class list is getting printed. So this is of data type, that is list over here. Similarly, we have tuple and set as well, which we are going to see in the upcoming videos. What are the different contents of these data types, and how do we use them, and when do we use them? So guys, for now you just need to remember that whatever value that we provide to a particular variable, automatically that data type will be assigned to that particular variable. Basic input and output in Python programming. So guys, in this tutorial we will learn simple ways to display output to the users and take input from users in Python with the help of examples. Now guys, as we have seen previously, in Python we can simply use the print function to print the output. So let us check this with the help of example over here. So I simply want to print a statement. So let's say I want to print programming for beginners. That is the name of this YouTube channel, which you should definitely subscribe if you have not subscribed it yet. So once we provide the string inside the double quotes, we can simply save this file and try running this code now. So on the terminal, we will be able to see this string getting printed, that is programming for beginners. I have missed out an O character over here. So this is the correct string. So programming for beginners is the string that we want to print, and that is what we have got over here in the terminal. Now guys, even with this print print function over here. This is a function and it takes certain parameters. So parameters are nothing but certain values that you can provide to the function. So as you can see, the actual syntax of the print function accepts 5 parameters. So basically we have only provided one parameter over here. This can be treated as a parameter, that is the value that we want to print. Now apart from this, we also have other parameters as well. So object is the parameter, which is nothing but the value to be printed. Apart from that, we have separator, then we have AND parameter, file, and then flush parameter. So these are the 5 parameters and these are the descriptions of each and every parameter. So over here the separator, which is an optional parameter, since we have not provided any separator over here, it allows us to separate multiple objects inside print. So let's say after this string, I want to provide another number over here. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 is the number that I want to provide. Now I want these objects, that is one is programming for beginners, which is a string, and another object that is a number to be separated using commas. So what we will do is, after providing comma, we will use the SCP, that is another parameter. As you can see, VS Code is providing us the auto completion feature over here. So we just need to select that, and then we need to provide single quotes, and inside this we provide comma followed by the space character. So guys, what will happen is all the objects will be separated by using this comma and the space character over here. It depends on your requirement how many objects you want to provide inside this print statement. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, programming for beginners, and then we have this comma followed by the space character, and then we have this 1, 2, 3, 4 object being printed over here. We can have another object. So let's say I provide another string, that is another statement over here. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So we are getting an error, invalid syntax, perhaps you forgot a comma. So basically after providing each and every object, we have to separate it using the comma over here. And then let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, programming for beginners followed by comma, and then we have space characters, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Again we have comma and then space character, and then we have another statement. So guys, in this way we can use the separator parameter as well in order to separate the different objects inside the print function. Now going to next parameter, which is AND over here, which is again optional. By default it is the /n character, in which case the control flow goes to the next line whenever there is another object that is getting printed over here. So as you can see, it allows us to add specific values like new line or tab character. So guys, let's say we have this print function over here. I'll just remove this part of the line over here, and let's say I have another print function, in which case I am providing another statement. So let's say we have another statement over here. So guys, what will happen is, by default this AND parameter is having the /n character, which means the control flow should go to the new line whenever there is a next print statement that is encountered. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, programming for beginner string is getting printed in first line, and on the second line another statement is getting printed. Now what if we want both these statements to be printed on the same line, but they are present in the different print function? So what we will have to do is, in the first print function I will provide a comma over here, and then we have the AND parameter. So as you can see, this AND parameter we have to select, and then inside the double quotes I'll simply provide the full stop followed by the space character. So guys, what is happening over here is, after the string is getting printed, at the end of the line we are providing this full stop and then followed by the space character, and then whenever there is a next string that is encountered by the control flow, it will get printed on this same line. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, programming for beginners, and then we have a full stop, and then we have the space character as well, and then we have another statement that is getting printed. So guys, we can also use this AND parameter if we want multiple print functions to be used, but all the objects need to be printed on the same line. The other two parameters are file, which is again optional, where the values are printed. So basically by default the values are printed on the screen, and that is why its default value is system.stdout, which means it should print on the screen. You can also provide some file path over here so that the content can be written in the file. Apart from that, we also have the flush, which is again an optional parameter. It is a boolean specifying if the output is flushed or buffered. So by default it is having the false value. So guys, these two parameters you can practice on your own as a homework for you. Apart from that guys, it is very important that how do you take input from the user in Python programming. So basically while programming, we might want to take the input from the user. In Python, we can use the input function. So as you can see, we have a variable over here, or we can say identifier. It is equal to, we have used the input function. So guys, this input function, it will take a parameter which will be kind of a label which will be printed on the screen for the user as an instruction. So we are asking the user to enter a number, and the number that will be entered by the user will be stored in this num variable over here. So guys, let us check this with the help of example. Now I'll just remove these lines of code. So what we have to do is, let's say we provide the number variable, it is equal to, we have to use the input function. As you can see, this is the function that is being suggested by the VS Code over here, and then using the open and close parenthesis, inside this we have to provide a string inside the double quotes. So we can simply provide enter a number. Now this is an instruction to the user to enter the number. Now guys, what we can do is we can print this number. Now we can easily print this by using a string. So let's say we provide the string over here, that is entered number is, and then followed by colon, and then after this object we have to provide a comma, and then we can provide the number variable to be printed. So we have provided the number variable over here. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, it is asking the user over here to enter a number. So what I will provide is, simply I will provide 10 as the number, and then when I press enter, as you can see, entered number is 10. So this string is getting printed along with the number that is being entered by the user. Now guys, it is very important to note that whenever we are using this input function, the input that is taken by the user will be of the type string over here. So if we print the type of this number variable over here, let me just do that. So we simply provide data type of number colon, and then what we have to do is, after comma we have to use the type function, and inside this function we have to provide the number variable. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. Enter a number. So let's say I provide 10 as the number. As you can see, entered number is 10, and after this data type of number, it is class string. So this is of string data type. So whatever input is being taken from the user, it will be stored as a string. So what we have to do is, we have to convert it into a number. Now since this is a string, we cannot add another number to this particular number. So let's say if we try to add some another number over here, so we simply do number plus 5 over here. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. So when we provide 10 as the number, when I press enter, as you can see, it says can only concatenate string, not int. That's because we are trying to concatenate a string with a number over here, that is the integer. So what we have to do is, we have to convert this input into an integer. So we can simply provide int over here, and then the entire input function needs to be enclosed within the open and close parenthesis. So guys, this we had seen previously as well. This is the explicit type conversion over here, which is the manual type conversion, in which we are converting the string data type to the integer data type. And now we will have the integer over here, which can simply be added with another integer. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, enter a number. This time let's say I provide 15 as the number, and then when I press enter, as you can see, entered number is, so what is happening is, this number that is 15 was taken, and then 5 was added to this number, and that is why 15 plus 5 is 20, and this number is getting printed over here. And you can see this data type of number, now it is of the type integer. That's because we have used the type conversion over here. So guys, this is the way you can take input from the user. Make sure that whenever you're using the input function, the data that is being entered by the user is of the type string, and you need to convert it into the appropriate data type before you can use the other operators. Arithmetic operators in Python programming. So guys, arithmetic operators are used to perform mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and many other operations which can be done using the integers or the numbers in Python. So guys, for example, let's say we provide the print function over here, and inside this function we provide 5 plus 6 as the parameter. So what will happen is, the plus operator is being used over here in order to add these two numbers, that is 5 and 6, and the result, that is 11, will be printed. So let us quickly check this with the help of example over here. So what we will do is, we will use the print function, and inside this parenthesis we will simply provide 5 plus 6 over here. And when we just save this file and try running this code now, So as you can see 11 is getting printed. So guys, what we have done over here is we have simply used the plus operator in order to add two numbers. We can also do this by using the variables as well. So let's say we provide num1, it is equal to 10, and let's say we provide num2, it is equal to 20, and then let's say I provide sum, it is equal to num1 plus num2 over here. So guys, basically once again we have used this plus operator in order to add two numbers, that is num1 and num2, for which the values are 10 and 20 respectively, and the result will be stored in this sum, and when we provide this sum inside the print statement, we will get that result. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see 30 is getting printed, that is the sum of 10 plus 20 over here. So guys, this is one of the arithmetic operator, that is plus is being used in order to add the two numbers. Apart from this addition, we have other operators as well. As you can see subtraction we have, in which the two numbers can be subtracted. So over here 4 minus 2, it is equal to 2. So over here minus operator is being used. We have multiplication as well, in which multiply operator is used in order to multiply two numbers. We have division as well in order to divide the two numbers. So as you can see 4 divided by 2, it is equal to 2. So we are getting the quotient over here, and we have the modulo operator as well, which can be used by using this percent operator. So guys, what happens is 5% 2, what this will do is it will divide the number on the left hand side, that is 5, by the number on right hand side, that is 2. So 5 divided by 2, it will give us the quotient as 2, but the remainder will be 1, and we will be getting the remainder of this operation, that is 1 over here. And similarly we have power operator as well. So as we can see 4 and then 2 times multiplication symbol over here, which is the power symbol, and then 2, which means 4 multiplied by 4 will be done, which is equal to 16. So basically this is nothing but the square of the number. In this case it is the square of this number, that is 4. So guys, let us check all these operators with the help of examples over here. So what we will do is, first of all we will print and add two numbers. So let's say we provide 10 as first number and 20 as the second number. So this is the addition of two numbers. Let's say we want to subtract two numbers over here, and the two numbers are, let's say 20 and then minus, what we do is we will minus 15 over here. Let's say the third expression is multiplication, so I will simply provide 5 as the number multiplied by 7 as another number. The next operator is the divide operator. So let's say I provide the print statement over here, and we provide 50 as one number divided by 10 as another number, and then we have another print statement. Let's say we want to find the remainder after dividing two numbers. So let's say 40 is one number, and then we provide percentage sign, and then we provide 15 as the second number. And then the last operator, that is the power operator, I simply provide 5 as the number and then 2 times multiplication over here, which means power, and then I provide 2 as the second number. So guys, let me just save this file and try running this code. We will check the results of all these operations over here. So as you can see, the first print statement, that is 10 plus 20, it is providing us 30 as the result, and this is the correct result over here. 20 minus 15 should be 5, and that is what we are getting over here as 5, and then 5 multiplied by 7, it is equal to 35, and we are getting 35 over here. Then 50 divided by 10 should give us the quotient, that is 5, and we are getting 5.0 over here. And then 40% 15, which means 40 is divided by 15, and then what is the remainder is getting returned to this print function, and 10 is getting returned. Why? 40 divided by 15, the quotient will be 2, that is 15 multiplied by 2 is 30, but the remaining number will be 10, which will be the remainder, and that is what we are getting over here as the 10 as the remainder. And then 5 power 2, which means 5 multiplied by 5 is done over here, and 5 multiplied by 5 is 25, and that is what we are getting over here. So guys, these are certain arithmetic operators that you can use, which include addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then finding the remainder of the two numbers by dividing them, and then we can also find the power of the number. So guys, you can use them based on your requirements. Logical operators in Python programming. So guys, the logical operators are used to check whether an expression is true or false. So they are used in decision making. So as you can see, for example, let's say the value of a variable, that is a, is equal to 5, and the value of b variable is 6 over here, and we have the print statement over here, and there are two conditions that we are checking. first of all whether a is greater than 2. So in this case the return will be true over here. That's because the value of a, that is 5, is actually greater than 2 over here. And then as you can see, this AND keyword, this is nothing but this is one of the logical operators. It is being used in order to check the multiple conditions, and the second condition that is being checked over here is whether b is greater than or equal to 6. So in this case, since b is equal to 6, so yes, in this case it is also true. So basically, since both the expressions over here, that is the second expression and the first expression, is true, and because this AND logical wants all the expressions to be true, the return for the entire expression will be true over here. So as you can see, these are certain logical operators over here. First of all, we have the AND operator, which means a and b, it is true only if both the operands, that is a and b, are true over here. Similarly, we have OR as well. So as you can see, a or b, in this case only one operand needs to be true, that is only one condition needs to be true over here. So this will be true if at least one of the operands is true. And then we also have the NOT operator, in which case we can use it as not a. So it will be true if the operand is false, and it will be false when operand is true over here. So guys, let us check all this with the help of examples over here. So let's say we have the variable that is a is equal to 5 and b it is equal to 6 over here. So we simply have the print statement, and let's say we provide the condition that is a, is it greater than 2 over here, and we also have another condition. So using the AND logical operator over here, we can combine multiple conditions. So next time we will be checking whether b is greater than or equal to 6. So guys, in this case both these conditions, that is a greater than 2 will return as true, and then b is greater than or equal to 6 will also return as true. So this entire expression will be true over here. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, true is getting returned over here. Now what if one of the conditions is false over here? So what we have to do is, let's say I provide a less than 2, in which case this particular expression will become false. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, false is getting returned. That's because one of the expressions while using the AND logical operator is false over here. And according to rules, all the expressions while using the AND logical operator must be true in order to return the true as the result. Now guys, if we check the same conditions, that is both these conditions, by using the OR logical operator, so we simply have to provide OR over here. And let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, true is getting returned. That's because the second expression over here is true and the first expression over here is false. So anyway, the OR logical operator wants one of the conditions to be true, and that is why we are getting the true as the result over here. What if we make the second condition false over here? So let me just change this expression to b less than 6 over here. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, false is getting returned. That's because is a less than 2? No, in this case. So false is getting returned over here. And is b less than 6 over here? No, in this case it is equal to 6. So this expression is also false. So the entire expression is false, and that is the only combination where the OR logical operator will return us the false result. Now guys, when do we use this NOT operator over here? So let's say I have just a simple expression. So over here I will provide is a less than 4 over here. So in this case, is a less than 4? No, so it should return false. So let us save this file and try running this code now. So it is returning false over here. But what if we want the opposite of this result? So if the result of any of the expression is false, we want to print true. But if the result of any expression is true, we want to return it as false. So what we have to do is, we simply have to provide NOT logical operator, and the expression needs to be provided within the parenthesis over here, as we can see. So let me just save this file now. So since it was returning false, by using the NOT logical operator, it should now return true. So let me just run this code once again. So it is returning true over here. Similarly, if let's say this particular expression turns out to be true, so we will get false as the result. So let's say I provide a greater than 4. So is a, for which the value is 5 over here, is it greater than 4? Yes, in this case. So this will return as true, but since we are using the NOT logical operator, it will return this true result to false, and it will be printed. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, false is getting returned over here and it is being printed. So guys, these are certain logical operators that we will be using in the upcoming videos as well when we are going to use the if else statement. Apart from that, we will be also using the while loops and other control statements as well, where we are going to use these logical operators. So guys, practice on your own so that on different inputs you get different outputs. If else statement in Python programming. So guys, in computer programming, we use the if statement to run a block of code only when a certain condition is met. So for example, as you can see, assigning grades, that is A, B, C, based on the marks obtained by a student. So basically over here in this case, we will be using the if condition. Now what can be the conditions? We can say that if the percentage of the student is above 90%, so assign grade A. In the same way, if the percentage is above 75%, then assign grade B, and if the percentage is above 65% but less than 75%, then assign grade C. So during such conditions, we have to use the if else statement over here. Now similarly in Python, there are three forms of if else statement. So we are going to check all these forms of statements one at a time with the help of examples. The first part is the if statement, in which case we are going to simply have the if statement over here along with the condition and the block of code. The next form will be if else statement, in which case we will also have the else block over here. And the third form of the if else statement will be, first we will be having the if statement and then followed by the elif statement, in which case we have another condition over here, and then finally we have the else statement over here. So let us check all this with the help of examples in the VS Code. So over here, let's say we have the value of x, it is equal to 10. Now what we have to do is we have to provide the if condition over here. So as you can see, when we type if keyword over here, VS Code is suggesting us that we can use this if keyword. So we are going to use this, and then we are supposed to have some condition. So we can say x greater than 5 over here. So guys, this is one of the comparison operators that we have already seen previously. It will check whether this left hand side variable, is it greater than the value that is present on the right hand side. So guys, this is one of the conditions that we are going to check, and then followed by a colon over here. So guys, this is the format in which we provide the if condition, and if this condition, that is whether x is greater than 5, if it is true, then we want to come inside this and there will be the block of code. We need to have certain statements over here. So we will say print, and we can simply put the string that is x is greater than 5 over here, since that is the condition that we have checked. So this is the very simple code that we can have with the if condition over here. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, it is displaying x is greater than 5. Now guys, this is just one statement that we have provided inside the if condition. We can also have multiple lines of code inside this block over here after the if condition. So we simply have to press enter and provide the another print statement, and let's say we will simply put we have checked x. So we have a very general statement over here, that is we have checked x over here. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, x is greater than 5, this thing is getting printed, and this statement, that is we have checked x, is also getting printed. So all the lines of code that is present inside the block after this condition that we have provided in the if statement will be executed only when this condition, that is x greater than 5, is true. Now what if this condition is not true? So let's say I provide x less than 5 over here, in which case this condition will become false. So what will happen is the control flow will not go inside this block and it will not print these statements over here. Let us verify this. I will just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, nothing is getting printed over here. That's because these lines of code are not getting executed because this condition was false. Now how do we verify that? We have to come out of this block. So basically we have indented this code, that is there are some space characters over here in this line. That is why these lines of code over here are treated to be present inside the block after this condition. We have to come out of that block over here. So we simply press enter and then we press backspace so that the cursor is aligned to this if condition over here. Now we can simply provide another print statement, and I will simply say outside if statement. So over here we say outside if statement. Now guys, this line of code, it will confirm that the control flow has come out of the if block over here. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting outside if statement. That's because x less than 5 condition was false, and that is why these two lines of code were not printed, and then the control flow came out of the if condition, and then this line that is outside if statement was printed. So guys, it is very important that you follow this indentation as far as your Python programs are concerned. You might get incorrect output if you don't follow such indentations properly. Now let us move to another form of if statement. So over here the second form is we provide the else part as well. So the first part we have already seen, that is using the if statement. Let us now use the else statement as well. So over here what we will do is, first of all we will check whether x is greater than 5, and then we will print that is x is greater than 5 over here. Now what if x is not greater than 5? That means it is less than or equal to 5. So we have to define the else part over here. So first of all we have to remove this indentation part. So I'll just press on backspace, and then we provide the else keyword. As you can see, VS Code is suggesting us this else keyword over here. We will use this, and then followed by colon, and then we can go inside this block of code, and similarly we will have another print statement. In this case we will say x is not greater than 5. So we are checking whether x is greater than 5, and we will say x is greater than 5 if this condition is true, and if this is not true then it will go in the else part and it will say x is not greater than 5. And after this part of code gets executed, the control flow will come over here and it will print this statement that is outside if statement over here. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, it says x is greater than 5. So over here, since the value of x it is 10, it is printing x is greater than 5 after this x greater than 5 condition is true, and then after that we are getting outside if statement. So the control flow did not go inside this else part. That's because it went inside this if part and this line of code was executed. So guys, the control flow can only go inside one block of code. If this condition is true, then it will come out, it will not go inside the else part, and if this condition becomes false, then it will go over here in the else part and execute that line of code. So let us check that second scenario now. What if x is not greater than 5? So we will change the value of x, and let us say the x values is 2 now. So in this case, is x greater than 5? No, in this case. So this line of code that is x is not greater than 5 should get printed. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, x is not greater than 5. This line of code is getting printed. That's because the condition was false and the control flow came in the else part and it executed this line of code. After this, outside if statement got printed over here, as you can see on the console. So guys, this is one of the examples of the if else statement that we can use. Guys, there will be many instances where you will be using this if else statement in your actual programs. So make sure that you practice on your own. Now after this, let us see another part, that is we have the elif as well. So guys, let us take this example over here, that is of grading system. So if the percentage is greater than 90, we have to assign the grade that is A. If the percentage is greater than 75 but less than 90, then we will say the grade is B. And if the percentage is greater than 65 but less than 75, then we have to put the grade as C. So guys, let us move to the code over here. Let us clear all these lines of code, and over here we will simply have the percentage variable, and let's say we have 95 as the percentage initially. And then we have another variable that is grade. Let's say it is equal to D initially. So we have this character that is D over here. Now what we have to do is we have to provide the if condition, and the first condition is whether the percentage is above 90. So over here we will say inside the if condition, first of all, whether this percentage is it above 90 over here. So we will simply have percentage greater than 90, and if this is true, then we have to provide colon, and then we have to make the value of this grade as A. So grade, it is equal to A over here inside the single quotes. Now we have another condition, that is if the percentage is greater than 75, but if it is less than or equal to 90, then it should be B. So what we have to do is we can use the elif part over here. So we have elif keyword. So as you can see, VS Code is suggesting us this elif keyword over here, followed by we have to check whether this percentage again is it greater than 75. So over here, if it is greater than 75, then we have to come in this block of code, and then after this again we have to assign the value to this grade variable, and this time the value will be B over here. So we will assign the value to grade as B, and then after this we will again have the elif part over here, and we need to check whether the percentage is greater than 65 or not, and then in that case we have to provide C. So over here we will say elif percentage, it is greater than 65 in this case, and then if this is true, then we have to provide the grade value as C over here. And then guys, we can also have the else part over here, and we can simply provide that the grade in the else part, it can be D over here in case the percentage is less than 65. So we can have grade as D. And then finally we will have the print statement over here. So we have the print function, and we will simply provide the grade value. So the grade is, and then we have comma, and then the grade variable over here. So guys, over here as you can see, initially the percentage is 95, so it should go inside the first if statement. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting some error over here at the else part. So over here we have forgot to provide the colon after the else part. So it is very important that we provide the colon after any of these keywords that we have used and the conditions that we have used. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, the grade is A. That's because the percentage value is 95, and in this case percentage is greater than 90, and that is why the grade is being assigned as the value as A. Now what if the percentage value is not greater than 90? So let's say we provide the percentage value as 85. So in this case the control flow will come over here. It will check whether percentage greater than 90. No, in this case, then it will go inside the elif part. So is percentage greater than 75? Yes, in this case. So this line of code, that is grade equal to B, will get executed, and then the control flow will come directly out of the if else statement, and it will print the grade over here. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, the grade is being assigned the value as B. So grade is B is getting printed over here. Similarly, let's say we provide the percentage value as 70. So this time, this condition, that is percentage greater than 65, will get executed because the previous conditions are already false in this case. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So grade must be C. So as you can see, the grade is C over here. And what if the percentage is less than 65? So let's say we provide the percentage as 60. So finally the else part, that is grade equal to T, will get executed. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So now in this case the grade is D. So in this way we can easily use the if else statement. We can also use the elif keyword in order to check the intermediate conditions over here. For loop in Python programming. So guys, in computer programming, loops are used to repeat a block of code. So let's say for example, if we want to show a message 10 times, we don't have to print that 10 number of times over here. We can simply use the loop in order to repeat the same message again and again 10 times. So in Python, the for loop is used to run a block of code for a certain number of times. So in this example, we have considered 10. We can have any number of iterations. So basically it is used to iterate over any sequences such as list, tuple, string, etc. So guys, this is the syntax of the for loop in Python programming. So first of all, we have the for keyword followed by a particular value or a variable, and then we have this in keyword, which is a kind of a membership operator that we have seen previously, and then we have the sequence. Now this sequence can be anything. It can be a list, tuple, or any other sequence over here. So let us check this with the help of examples now. So over here, what we will do is, let's say we have the variable name as X and we have the list of numbers over here. So in order to define the list, we have the open and close square brackets, and we have the list of numbers. Let's say we have 1 followed by 2, and then we have 3, 4, and then 5. So we have the top 5 numbers over here inside this list that is defined in the variable X. Now what we want to do is, we want to print all these numbers one at a time on the separate lines. So we can simply use the for loop over here. So for, and what we will do is, let's say we provide a value as the variable name, and then we provide the in keyword, which is the membership operator, and after this, on the right hand side of the in keyword, we are supposed to have the sequence. So the sequence in this case is the variable that is X over here. So this is the format of the for loop whenever we are going to iterate through a list or a sequence. Now inside this, we can have the block of code over here. So we simply want to print all the values. So we have the print function, and we can simply provide this value, that is variable. So guys, what is happening behind the scenes is, this X, that is the list of all the numbers, one at a time, the number is being assigned to this variable, that is value. So first of all, 1 will get assigned to value, and this value, that is 1, will get printed, and then the control flow will go back again in the sequence that is X. It will check whether there is a next element or not. So 2 will get printed, and then again 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then after this, when the control flow comes over here, it sees that there is no other element after this 5th element. So the control flow will come out of this for loop, and then the other lines of code after this for loop will get printed. So guys, let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, all the numbers are getting printed over here on the terminal, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now guys, let's say we want all these numbers to be printed on the same line. So previously we had seen that we have certain parameters in the print function that will help us in order to print the values in a specific way. So over here we have one of the parameters, that is end over here. So we provide end, and this parameter helps us in order to separate the different elements that we want to print. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to separate all the numbers using the comma character. So I have provided the comma character over here. So all the numbers that were printed on the different lines will get printed on the same line now. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is getting printed. We are getting this additional comma over here at the end. That's because after the last value is getting printed, the comma is appended after that last value. So guys, this is one of the ways in which we can use the for loop in order to carry out our operations. Now guys, there is another important thing that you must know. In Python, the for loop with Python range can also be used. So in Python, a range is a series of values between two numeric intervals. We use the Python's built-in function, that is range, to define a range of values. So let's say we want to define the top 10 numbers over here. We can simply use the range function instead of defining them one at a time like how we have defined in this list. So basically, in order to have the top 10 numbers, we have to manually define it as 1 to 10 over here. But we can also get rid of this part. We can have the range method over here. So as you can see, when we type range, VS Code is suggesting us this function, that is range over here, and we simply have to provide a number over here. So let's say we provide 10 as the number. So what is happening is, the list of 10 numbers over here is getting assigned to the variable, that is x over here, starting from the number 0 up to the number that is 9. So over here we will be seeing all the numbers starting from 0 up to 9 over here. The last number, that is 10, is excluded from the list. So if we simply save this file and try running this code now, we will get these numbers, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 10 numbers are getting displayed over here. That's because we have provided 10 inside the range built-in method. What if we provide 20 over here? So 0 to 19 numbers will be displayed. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 0 to 19 is getting displayed. So guys, let's say if someone had told you, write a Python program in order to print top 20 numbers starting from the number 0 up to 19. So instead of having the print statements 20 number of times and writing each and every number inside the print statement, we can simply have the range method over here, and we can use the for loop in order to iterate through the list that we have already defined over here. And that is how we simplify the problem that is given to us and write the Python program. Now guys, there is another variation over here, Python for loop with the else part. So after this for loop, we can also have the else part that will mandatorily get executed after we reach the end of this sequence that we have provided in the for loop. So what we will do is, we will simply come out of this block of code and we will have the else part over here, and we will simply print outside for loop over here. So we have outside for loop. So guys, what will happen is, after the control flow comes out of this for loop, the control flow will go inside this else part and it will execute this line of code and print outside for loop on the console. Now guys, this print statement will be printed on the same line. That's because we have provided the end part over here and there is a comma over here. So you can expect the string to be present on this same line over here. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 0 to 19, that is all the numbers are getting printed, and then the last line, that is outside for loop, is getting printed over here. So in case you want to print something or carry out certain operations after the execution of the for loop, you can have the else part as well, and it will carry out the operations over here after the end of this sequence is reached. So guys, this is the main functionality of the for loop, that is, in order to iterate through the sequence. We can also have the sequence of list of strings as well. We can also have tuple or dictionary as well. So guys, it depends on your requirements as to what exactly you want to find out through the Python programs. While loop in Python programming. So guys, previously we have seen how the for loop works in the Python programming. Now the Python while loop is used to run a specific code until a certain condition is met. So basically in the for loop there was no such condition that we had provided, but it was iterating through a list that we had provided in the form of a variable. But over here, this is the syntax of the while loop. First of all, we have the while keyword over here, and then we have a certain condition, and if this condition is true, then only the control flow will go inside the body of the while loop, and then again the control flow will come over here. It will check the condition again, and if the condition is true once again, it will again go inside the body of this while loop. So guys, again and again the control flow will come inside the while loop until and unless the condition becomes false. So when this condition becomes false, the control flow will come out of this while loop, and that is how the while loop is going to work in the Python programming. So guys, let us check this with the help of examples now. So let's say we want to print the first 5 numbers, that is 1 to 5. So over here initially we can have the variable that is I, it is equal to 1, and the second variable that is j, it is equal to 5. So this is the starting point, that is I equal to 1, and the ending point is j is equal to 5. So basically we can have a while loop over here. We will simply have the while keyword, and the condition that we have to give is whether I is less than or equal to j, and up to that condition we want to print the value of I. So basically it is I less than or equal to j over here. So if this condition is true, we want to print the value of I, which will be 1 initially. So basically I want to print this number, that is I over here. Now guys, what exactly is happening over here is i's value is 1 initially, j value is 5 initially. So is I less than or equal to j in the first instance? Yes, in this case. So I will be printed which is equal to 1. So again it will go inside the while loop and it will check whether 1 is less than or equal to 5. Yes, in this case. So guys, we are not changing any of the values, that is I or j over here. So this will be infinite loop, because again and again the condition will be true and the number that is I, which is equal to 1, will get printed indefinitely. So what we have to do is we have to increment the value of I, because after 1 we want to print the value that is 2 over here. So what we will do is we will simply add 1 to I. So I, it is equal to I plus 1. We can also use the shorthand method, that is I plus equal to 1 over here. So what will happen now is i's value is updated to I plus 1, which will be 2 now. So is 2 less than or equal to 5? Yes, in this case. And then again 2 will get printed, and then I will again get incremented over here. So the i's value will be 3. Next time i's value will be 4, and then again i's value will be 5. And then ultimately when i's value is 6, this condition will become false. That's because 6 is not less than or equal to 5, and the control flow will come out of the while loop. So guys, let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, all the numbers, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is getting printed. After the i's value is 5, over here 5 is getting printed. Now i's value becomes 6 over here. That's because 5 plus 1 will be 6. And is 6 less than or equal to 5? Because the j's value is 5 over here in this case. So no, the condition becomes false and the control flow comes out of the while loop. Now what if we want to print all these numbers on the same line? So simply inside the print statement we can have the comma, and then we can have the AND operator, and then let's say we want to separate all the numbers with the space characters. So inside the double quotes we have provided the space character over here. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is getting printed over here. We can have any numbers over here. Let's say I is starting from 11, and let's say we want j is equal to 20. So in this case 11 to 20 should get printed. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 11, 12, 13, 14 and up to 20 numbers are getting printed over here. So guys, this is the main functionality of the while loop. It is going to have a certain condition, and if this condition is true, the block of code inside the while loop will get executed. And once the condition becomes false, control flow comes out of the while loop. Now guys, we can also use the else part with the while loop. So over here, as you can see, Python while loop with the else part. So a while loop can have an optional else block as well. The else part is executed after the condition in the while loop evaluates to false. So basically after this while loop we can also have the else part, which is optional. So we can have the else part over here. What we will do is we will simply have the print statement that is outside the while loop. So we have the print function and we will say outside while loop over here. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 11, 12, 13 up to 20 numbers are getting printed, and then on the same line the outside while loop the statement that we have provided in the else part is getting printed. So this is the functionality of the else part after the while loop. It is optional. If you want to have, we can have it, or else we don't need to have it. But guys, the important thing is inside the while loop we can provide a particular condition, and the control flow will go again and again inside the while loop until the condition is true. Once a condition becomes false, the control flow will come out of the while loop. Now guys, what you should use, whether you should use the Python for loop or Python while loop over here. So guys, basically they are used based on the specific requirements. So as you can see, for loop is usually used when the number of iterations is known. So as we had seen previously, in the for loop we provide a particular sequence and iterate through that sequence by giving one value at a time to a variable, and we use that variable inside the block of the for loop. But in the while loop there is a condition. So while loop is usually used when the number of iterations are unknown. So we don't know the number of iterations, we don't have the sequence of elements or the list of numbers through which we want to iterate. So basically we provide the condition in the while loop. So based on these requirements, you can choose whether you want to use the while loop or you want to use the for loop. But guys, it is very important that you practice both these loops. The implementation of these loops are very important as far as Python programming is concerned. So functions in Python programming. So guys, we will learn about the Python function and the function expressions with the help of examples. So basically a function is a block of code that performs a specific task. So it can be any task that you want to implement based on your requirements, but it is the block of code that you can put inside the function, and that block of code will have your implementation of the logic. Now suppose you need to create a program to create a circle and color it. So there are two tasks over here. That is, first of all, in order to create a circle, and the second thing is to color it. So you can create two functions to solve this problem. That is, the first function will be to create a circle, and that will be one function, and another function will be to create a color over here. So basically what we have done is we have divided a complex problem into smaller chunks, which makes it easier to understand the program and reuse the functions as well. So there are two types of functions. So first of all, we have already seen some standard library functions as well. One of the example is the print statement, that is the print function. So these are built-in functions in Python that are available to use. So let us check some examples of standard library functions over here. So previously we have seen the print statement. So this is nothing but one of the built-in functions which take multiple parameters. So one of the parameters is the value. So when we are providing programming for beginners, the string, which is the name of the YouTube channel as well, which you should definitely subscribe. So this is the string that we have provided to the print function, and this string is being passed to the print built-in method, and behind the scenes this print function is having some sort of code that will help us in order to print the statement on the terminal. So when we save this file and try running this code now, basically this programming for beginners is getting printed. What we have done, we have just called that function and the implementation is behind the scenes. So this is one example of a built-in function. Similarly, we have another built-in function, that is range, which helps us in order to have the list of numbers from 0 up to the number that we have provided. So let's say we provide the number 10. So it will provide us all the numbers before 10 starting from 0. So this is another built-in function. So similarly, we have other standard library functions as well. Now you can also have the user-defined functions. So in case your requirement is not fulfilled by using one of the standard functions that is being provided by Python, you can have your own user-defined functions also. So we can create our own functions based on our requirements, and this is the syntax. That is, first of all, we have this keyword, that is def, which means define, and then we have the function name. So this function name will be the name of the function. Like this range is the name of the function, then the print function, the print name is the function name over there. So similarly, we can have our own function name, and after that we have the list of arguments. We can have any number of arguments over here. Inside that we will have the function body where our implementation code will be present, and then we can also have the optional return statement, which means it will return some value. So over here, as you can see, this is the example. We have the define keyword and then followed by the greet function over here. So it is not taking any arguments for now. It is simply printing some statement that is inside greet function. Now how do we call this function? Simply we use the function name, that is greet, followed by open and close parenthesis, and then we call the print function and we say outside function. So guys, let us check this with the help of example over here. So simply we will have the define keyword, so def, and let's say we have sum and then underscore numbers. So basically what we are doing over here is we will be adding two numbers. So over here we have the open and close parenthesis, and then after that we have a colon, and let's say we have the number A, it is equal to 10, and then we have number B, it is equal to 20. We want to print the sum of these numbers, so we simply provide print function inside this and we say A plus B, and then we can also have the string over here. Let's say we have sum of A and B, and then we have colon, and then after this we have comma, and then we have A plus B over here. So guys, this is the function that we have already defined. We have two numbers, that is A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20. Now if we simply save this file and try running this code, we will not get anything. So as you can see, there is no print statement which is helping us in order to print something on the terminal. Why so? Because this code is present inside a function which is not called yet. So we need to call this function, that is sum numbers. So how do we call it? By simply calling the name. So we simply have to provide some numbers over here and then open and close parenthesis, and that's it. We have simply called this function which will make the control flow go to this particular function over here, and inside it will check that A value is 10, B value is 20, and it will print sum of A and B. It will carry out this operation, that is A plus B. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, sum of A and B, it is equal to 30, and that is how we can simply provide the function. Now guys, why do we write this function? Just to add two numbers. So let's say you have a scenario, you have A, it is equal to 10, and then we have B, it is equal to 20, and you want to print the sum. So you can simply provide print A plus B. So you will get the answer as 30. Now with the same requirement, you have another requirement as well. In the same code, that is with this particular addition, you want to add more two numbers. So what you will do is you will simply copy and paste these lines of code once again, that is the 3 lines of code over here, but this time the A's value is something else. So let's say we have something like 50 and then 60 over here. So what will happen is with this print statement, it will print the sum of these two numbers. Now let's say there is another requirement, in which case all the sum needs to be printed at once and you have two more numbers. So you will again copy these lines of code and then again paste this over here, and then let's say the numbers are 100 and then 200 over here, that is B is 200. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So what is happening is all the sum is getting printed once, that is 30, 110 and 300. But let's say similarly, if you have 10 sets of A and B values in this way and you want to print all the sum of those numbers, so what you will do? So your code will become little bit complicated and it will be little bit lengthy as well. So in order to avoid this, what you can do is you can simply have the function, and inside the function you can have those variables and have the sum of those variables. So in order to achieve your task, that is have the sum of multiple numbers over here in one screen and using the function, what you can simply do is you can pass these values, that is 10, 20, 50, 60 and 120 while calling the function, that is sum number. So I'll just remove these lines of code now over here, and what we will do is I will simply provide the parameters, that is the arguments over here, that is A and then followed by comma, and then we have B. Now these A and B are not required because the values will come whenever this function is being called. So I'll just remove these lines of code over here. You will simply have one print statement inside the function, and the sum of A and B, it is A plus B. So this sum will get printed over here. While calling the function, you are supposed to provide the A and B value. So what we will simply do is I will simply call this sum numbers over here and I will provide the values of A and B. So what we had provided, we had provided 10 and 20, and then again we had the requirement, that is to add the other two numbers which were 50 and 60. So again I will just copy paste this sum numbers function and provide the different values this time, and then again I will copy and paste this once again with some different values, so 100 and 200. So as you can see, our code has become little bit cleaner. Instead of having 3 lines of code in order to add 2 numbers every time, for which our code has also become lengthy, we have a very short code and it is very clean as well. It is very readable as well. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting sum of A and B, it is 30, sum of A and B, it is 110, and sum of A and B, it is equal to 300. You can also customize your function in order to have the values of A and B over here. So we can simply say over here we have the double quotes, and then we have comma, and then we have A over here, and then we have double quotes, and then we have AND keyword, double quotes, and then B value, and then comma, and then double quotes over here before the colon. So as you can see, A and B values can also be printed. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 10 and 20 were passed first time, so it is saying sum of 10, 20 it is 30, then sum of 50 and 60 it is 110, and then sum of 100 and 200 it is 300. You can call this function any number of times with different values in order to get the different sum over here. I'll say 200 plus 300 again, and then let's say I provide 400 and 500 over here. Let me just save this file and try running this code. All the sums are getting printed and our code is also very clean over here. So guys, this is the main functionality of using Python functions. You can simply have the define keyword followed by the function name, and then this arguments list is optional over here. You can pass it, or if you don't want to pass it, there is no need to pass. So as you can see over here, Python function arguments, this we have already covered, that is in order to pass the argument. Now one last thing is return statement. So guys, we have not checked any return statement over here. So return is nothing but it will return some value. So let's say instead of having the print statement over here, we want the print statement outside the function. So what we can simply do is we can simply return the expression that is A plus B. So we can have the return keyword over here. So it will say return A plus B. So simply whatever value were being passed over here, that is 10 and 20, it will return the sum, that is 10 plus 20 it is equal to 30, to this code. And over here we should have something in order to catch that value. So I'll just remove these lines of code for now. And then let's say in order to catch the value, I provide the sum variable. So this sum variable is assigned the value that is being returned from the sum numbers over here, which is equal to the sum of these two numbers. And then simply we can have the print statement in order to print the sum value. So sum variable can be printed. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 30 is getting printed. That's because we have passed 10 and 20 over here. Also, to make it more short, what we can do is instead of storing the value inside this variable, we can simply have the print statement, and inside the print statement we can simply call the sum numbers function. So as you can see, we have the print statement. Inside this we are calling the sum numbers 10 and 20. So it will return 10 plus 20, it is equal to 30. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So 30 is being printed. Let's say I change the numbers to 20 and 50 over here. So 20 plus 50 should be 70. Let me just run this code. So 70 is getting printed, and based on the requirement you can format the print function, that is you can have any statements being printed over here along with the sum of the numbers. So guys, this is one of the examples of how you can define the functions and use them. You can have any other logic inside the functions that you want to implement based on your requirements. So guys, practice on your own so that on different inputs you get different output. List in Python programming. So guys, a list is a collection of similar or different types of data. So for example, suppose we need to record the age of 5 students. So instead of creating 5 separate variables, we can simply create a list. So as you can see, this is the way that we create the list. First of all, on the left hand side we have the variable name, and then on the right hand side, inside the open and close square brackets, we have the list of elements which are separated using the commas. So I'll just copy this line of code over here, and then let us move to the VS Code and paste this. So as you can see, on the left hand side it is the variable name of the list, and on the right hand side we have the age of all the students over here, and simply we can print the list by using the print function. After this we can provide the variable name, that is list. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. As you can see, we are getting the list of all the elements in the sequence that we had provided over here. It is very important that all these elements are separated using the commas over here. Now guys, the list can have the same kind of elements, that is this one is having the list of integers data type only, but we can also have the string as well in between. So let's say we have a string called John over here in between this list of elements. So this is also possible. It will not throw any error while we are running this code. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. As you can see, we are getting the list of all the values 17, 18 and then we are getting John, and then 19, and then 14. So this is a kind of a heterogeneous list, whereas when we have the same kind of data type in the list, then it is called the homogeneous list. Now how do we access the Python list element? So basically this is one way in order to access the list, but what if we want to access only a single element? By using this print statement, we have accessed all the elements over here, but in case we want to access a particular element from this list, then what we can do is, in Python, each item in a list is associated with a number. So the number is known as a list index. So basically all these numbers, that is the elements of the list that are present inside the list, so these are associated with the indices which starts from 0. So the 17 number is at the 0th index, 18 number is at the first index, and so on. This is at the second index, third index, and then so on. So basically these elements can be accessed using these indices. So as you can see, we can access elements of an array using the index number. Now how do we access them? So what we can do is, we simply come over here. I'll simply change this to the number 15 that was there previously, and what we have to do is, let's say I want to access this element, that is the fourth element. So what will be the index? So this is 0th index, then we have 1, and then 2, and then 3. So this is the third index. So we can access by using the variable name followed by open and close square brackets, and inside those brackets we have to provide the index number, that is 3 in this case, which represents this number, that is 19. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. As you can see, we are just getting 19 over here. Previously we were getting the entire list when we don't provide this index number. I'll save this file. So as you can see, all the values are getting printed, but when we provide the index number, let's say I want to print 18 this time, which is at the index 1 after this index which is 0. So I provide list of 1 over here, save this file and run this code. So as you can see, 18 is getting displayed, and this is how it is one way in order to access a particular single element inside this list by using the index number. Now it is also possible that we provide the negative index in Python. So Python allows negative indexing for its sequences. The index of -1 refers to the last item, -2 to the second last item, and so on. So for now we know that the 0th index is the first element over here, and then the first index is the second element. But what about the last element? Let's say we don't know the length of the list, like how many elements are present inside the list, and we want to get the last element over here. So since the first element is at the 0th index, the previous index, that is before 0, which is -1, it will point to the last index of this list, that is 14 over here. So what if we simply do list of -1 in this case? So I'll just provide -1 in this case. Let me just save this file and try running this code. As you can see, we are getting 14. So basically the -1 index will point to the last element of the list in this case. Let's say we want to get the second last element. So in this case, we will simply provide -2. So after -1, we are having -2, which will be the previous element of the last element. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 19 is getting displayed now. And this is the way that we can also use the negative indexing as far as accessing the last elements of the list are concerned. Now there is another concept of slicing in Python list. So in Python, it is possible to access a section of items from the list using the slicing operator, which is nothing but a colon, not just a single item. So let's say we want to access the second and third elements inside the list. So we have to use the slicing operator in this case. Now what is the slicing operator? While providing the indices inside the open and close brackets, we have to provide the indices and separate them using the colon. So what is the index of the second element? It is 1 over here. Since the first element is having the 0th index, we don't want that. We want to start from the first index, and then we also want the second index. So this time we have to provide the next number, that is at the third index now. So after this 1, that is the first index, we have to provide colon, and then we provide 3 over here. So 3 is not included in this case. Please remember that whenever you are providing the ending index, that element will not be included whenever you are using the slicing operator over here. So the elements that will be considered in this case will be at the index 1 and at the index 2, which means 18 and 15. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. as you can see, we are getting 18 and 15 only. Let's say you want to get all the elements starting from this 18. So this index is 18 right now, and there is no end index that you want to specify over here. So we simply have to remove this 3, and then we can simply specify 1 followed by the colon. So this will make Python interpreter to consider all the elements after the first element, including the first element itself. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting all the elements, that is 18, 15, 19 and 14, starting from the first index over here. So guys, this is the way that we can use slicing in the Python list. Also, in order to consider all the list elements over here, we need not have to specify any of the indices. If we simply provide the colon over here, all the elements will be considered. Let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, all the elements are getting considered, but this thing is kind of a redundant over here. That's because if we simply provide the variable name, that is list, still all the elements will be considered. So if we run this code once again, so all the elements are being considered over here. Only when you want to consider the subset of this list, you have to use the slicing inside the Python list. Now let us move to the next concept. How do we add the elements to a Python list? So there are two ways to add the elements in the Python list. The first way is to use the append function, which will help us in order to add a single item in the list. And the second way is to use the extend function in order to add another list to the already existing list. So let us check this with the help of examples now over here. Let's say we already have this list of values inside the list variable, and now we want to add more elements. So what we will do is we will say list followed by dot, and then we have something called as append. So this is a function which will take a single element and it will add to the end of this list. So let's say I want to provide 25 as the age of another student. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, this element that is 25, it is already added at the end of the list now, and in this way we can use the append function to add more elements inside the list. Now let's say we have another list over here. Let's say I provide a list 1 and the numbers I provide is 1, 2, 3 over here. So 3 elements are there, and we want to add all these elements to the original list, that is list variable. So what we can do is we can use the extend function in this case. So we have to use this list variable, which is the original list variable, followed by dot, and then we have the extend function, and inside the parenthesis we have to provide this argument, that is list1, which is another variable having the list of elements. And now if we print this list, it will have the updated list of values. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, after this 14, 1, 2, 3 elements are also getting added over here, since we have used the extend function in this case. Let us move to another section. Can we change the list items? So basically the Python lists are mutable, meaning lists are changeable, and we can change items of a list by assigning new values using equal to operator. So what I will do over here is I'll just remove these lines of code. So I'll simply provide the original list over here. So we will say original list followed by colon, and then we will print the list. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. We have the original list over here. I'll just spell this correctly. So we have the original list 17, 18, 15, 19 and then 14. Now let's say at the third position, that is 15, we want to change this element to 10. Now this is being referred to the second index over here. So this is 0th index, then 1 and then second index. So what we have to do is simply we have to provide list followed by, inside the square brackets we will provide the index number, that is 2, and then equal to the new value, that is 10, that we want to replace it with. And then again what we will do is I'll simply copy this line of code and paste this over here, and then we will say updated list. And let me just save this file now and try running this code. So basically, as you can see, original list, it is having 15 at the third position over here, that is at the second index, and the updated list is having the number 10 at the same second index over here. And this is the way that we can update the list elements. So since Python lists are mutable, we can change the elements of the list as well. Now removing an element from the list, so there are two ways. Either we can use the del function, or else we can use the remove function as well. So let's say over here we have the original list now. So I'll just remove these lines of code, and then we can use the del function and then followed by list. And let's say I want to remove this fourth element, that is at the index 3, which is 19. So I'll just provide list of 3 in this case, and then what I will do is I will print the updated list once again. So I'll just change this to updated list. So basically we are using the del method over here and deleting the third index inside this list. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, we are getting the updated list as 17, 18, 15 and 14. This element that is 19, it was removed already. Now instead of this, we can also use the remove method. So in that case, we have to use the variable name first. In the del method, that is the delete method, we simply used the function name and provided the element from the list in order to remove from that list. But over here, we have to provide the variable name followed by dot, and then we can simply use the remove function and then followed by the position. So which position we want to remove? So let's say I want to remove this element that is 18 over here. So in this case, we have to provide the value of the element that is present inside the list. So in this case, we provide 18. In the previous example that we have taken using the del method, we used the index number of the element that is present inside the list, but in this case we have to use the value in order to remove it. So I'll just save this file and try running this code now. As you can see, 18 was present in the original list, but in the updated list we don't have 18. It is 17, 15, 19 and 14, and in this way we can remove the elements from the list as well. Now very important operation, how do we iterate through a list? So basically we can use the for loop to iterate over the elements of a list. So till now what we have seen is we have just used the list, that is the variable name, in order to print the elements of those lists. Now if you notice, we are getting the square brackets over here, open and close square brackets, within which all the elements are getting printed. But let's say we don't want those square brackets and one by one we want to print all the elements at a time. So what we can simply do is use the for loop, and we have seen in the previous videos as well the syntax of the for loop. We have to use the for keyword followed by, let's say, a temporary variable name that is item, followed by the in keyword, and then we have to provide the sequence that is list, and then after that we have the colon, and then we can have the print statement over here. Now in the print statement, if we only provide one item, that is item in this case, so every time all the elements will be printed on the separate lines over here. So let us just try this code. So we'll just save this file and try running this code now. As you can see, 17, 18, 15, 19, 14, all the elements are getting printed on the separate lines. What if we want all the elements to be present on the same line? So what we can do is, after providing comma over here, we have the end parameter inside the print function, and this end parameter we can have the comma as the character by which we can separate all the elements. So by default this is /n character, which means the next element will be printed on the next line, but if we specify this in this way, all the elements will be printed on the same line. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, all the elements are getting printed on the same line in the same sequence that is present inside this list. So in this way, we can iterate through all the elements inside the list that are present by using the for loop over here. Now another important thing, how do we find the list? So we have something called as Python list length. So in Python, we use the len function to find the number of elements present in a list. So we can have any number of elements inside the list over here. So there is no limit on the number of elements that we are supposed to have inside the Python list. So in case if we want to find the number of elements inside the list, we can simply use the length function. So we can simply print this, and then we can have len, which is a function, and then we can provide the variable name of the list inside this len function over here. So it will return us the count of the elements inside the list. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. As you can see, 5, that is the count of the number of elements inside the list is present over here. If we provide some more elements over here, let's say I have provided 5 more elements inside the list. Let me just save this file now and try running this code. So we are getting the updated count, that is 10. So 10 is the number of elements that are present inside the list, and that is how we can easily find the length of the list in this case by using the len function over here. So guys, these were certain operations as far as list variable is concerned. Please make sure that you practice on your own, and as a homework for you, there is something called as a sort function which can help you in order to sort all the elements inside the list. So you can practice on your own as a homework for you in order to sort the elements inside inside the Python list and print on your own. Tuple in Python programming. So guys, a tuple in Python is similar to a list. Basically the difference between the two is that we cannot change the elements of a tuple once it is assigned, whereas we can change the elements of a list. So previously in the examples of the list that we have seen, we were able to change the elements inside the list, but the same thing cannot be done with the elements that are present inside the tuple. So how do we create a tuple? A tuple is created by placing all the items, that is elements, inside the parenthesis. So we have this open and close parenthesis, whereas in the list we were using open and close square brackets. Now these are supposed to be separated by commas over here. The parentheses are optional, however it is a good practice to use them. So a tuple can have any number of items and they may be of different types, that is integer, float, list, string, etc. So guys, let us check this with the help of example now over here. As you can see, we have my tuple, which is the name of the variable that we have given, and 1, 2, 3, these are the elements that is present inside the tuple. If you notice, we have this open and close parenthesis instead of the square brackets, and that is the difference between the list and the tuple over here. So let us move to the VS Code, and simply we will provide tuple 1 as the variable name over here, equal to followed by open and close parenthesis, and let's say we define 5 elements 1 to 5 over here. So this is nothing but we have defined the tuple, and we can simply print this tuple by using the variable name tuple 1 over here. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. As you can see, we are getting all the elements, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in this way we have easily created and printed the tuple elements over here. Now guys, an important thing over here, let's say you want to create a Python tuple with only one element. So in this case what happens is, let's say if you provide var1, that is variable 1 over here, and you provide double quotes, that is hello, with this open and close parenthesis. In this case this will be considered as a string, whereas in the variable 2 what you do is, after this hello you provide a comma. So in this case it will be considered as a tuple. So this is very important thing. If you want to create a tuple with just a one element, you have to use the comma after providing that element over here. Let us check this with the help of examples now over here. Let's say I provide var1 in this case, and then open and close parenthesis, and then let's say we have hello over here, and then I'll just copy this line of code and paste this, and I'll simply provide comma after this element. So what we will do is, I'll just name this variable name as var2. So let us now confirm the data types of both the variables. So we will say print, and then inside this we will use the type function in order to find the data type of var1. So we provide var1 over here, and I'll simply copy and paste this line of code, and we provide var2 over here. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, first one, it is showing us that it is a string, and the second thing is showing us that it is a tuple. Now in case if we simply remove this comma from this tuple, so what happens? So let me just save this file and try running this code once again. As you can see, it has become string now. Both are strings right now. If we provide comma over here and comma over here as well, so both the variables will be turned to the tuple data type. So guys, this is very important. If you want to have only one element inside the tuple, make sure that that element is followed by a comma over here in order to make that data type as a tuple. Now guys, moving to next section, how do we access the Python tuple elements? So there are multiple ways in order to access the elements over here. First of all is indexing. So this we have already seen previously. By using the index number, we can access the elements of the tuple. So let's say we have tuple 1 over here, and we have 5 elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how do we access these elements? By using the indices. So we simply have to provide the tuple 1, that is the variable name, and then followed by open and close square brackets this time, and let's say we want to print the element that is 3 over here. Every time remember guys that the index, it starts from 0. So this first element, that is number 1, it is at the index 0, and then the second element, that is number 2, it is at the index 1, and then the third element, that is number 3, it is at the index 2 over here. So we provide the number that is 2, which is the index number in this case. So this will tell the Python interpreter to access the element that is at the index number 2 for this variable, that is tuple 1. So over here what will happen is, the index number 0 is this, and then index number 1 is this, and then we have index number 2, which is 3 over here, and this element should be printed. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 3 is getting printed. Similarly, let's say if you want to print this number 2, which is at the index 1 in this case, so we have to provide 1 inside this open and close square brackets. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So 2 is getting printed this time. So guys, this is one way in order to access the elements by using the indexing. We also have something called as negative indexing. So let's say if you don't know the number of elements that are present inside the tuple, whereas there is a way in order to find the length of the tuple, but in case you want to access the last element of this tuple over here, so you already know that the first element is at the index 0. So let me just print that. So over here we provide tuple 1 followed by the index number, that is 0 in this case. I'll save this file and try running this code. So 1 is getting printed. Now let's say you want to print the last element, but you don't know at which index it is. So we have something called as negative indexing, in which case before the 0th index, the index that is -1, it will point to the last element of this tuple, that is 5 over here. So when we provide -1 in this case, this element that is 5 should get printed. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So 5 is getting printed. Similarly, if you want to get the second last element of this tuple, you can simply provide -2 over here. So when we provide -2 and run this code, so 4 is getting displayed, which is the second last element. So this is like a cycle over here. When you use the negative indexing, the last elements of this tuple will start getting printed over here. And then guys, you can also use the slicing functionality as we have already seen with the list. So basically, let's say if you want to print the subset of this tuple between 2 to 4. So what you can do is, what is the index of this element that is 2? It is 0 and then 1. So at the first index, this 2 is present. So we will provide 1 over here followed by a colon, and then what is the index of the element that we want? That is 4. So the index is, it is 0, 1, 2, and then this index is 3, but we don't want to specify 3 because this is excluded. So the next index, which is 4, we have to specify that index, which will be not included in our slicing operator. So when we provide 4 over here, always remember that this index on the left hand side will be considered, but this index will not be considered. The fourth index will not be considered, but before this, that is the third index, will be considered while printing this statement. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, 2, 3 and 4 is getting printed. The last index, that is 4, which is having the element 5, this will not be considered because it is not included in the slicing operator. So these are some of the ways that you can use in order to access the Python tuple elements over here. Now Python tuple methods, there are two methods only, that is count and index over here. What is count? So basically, in order to get the number of occurrences of a particular element, you can use the count method. So over here, while using the count function, we have to use the variable name followed by dot, and then as you can see, count and index, these are the only two methods. The other methods such as appending or removing or deleting the elements are not present. That's because, as I have already told you, the tuple inside Python are not mutable, which means we cannot change the elements once they are assigned over here. So when we provide count, we have to provide one of the elements inside that tuple. So let's say we want to find the occurrence of the element that is 2 over here in this case. That means how many times this number 2 is occurring. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, the count is 1 over here. That's because only one occurrence of number 2 is present. Let's say I provide some more occurrences over here. So I provide the number 2 times over here. So the total count becomes 3 in this case. Over here we have 2 and then 2 more 2's are present. So basically the total count is 3. Let me just run this code once again. So number of 2's that are present over here inside the tuple is 3, and that is what we are getting over here. And this is the main functionality of the count function. Now the another function, that is index. So if you want to get the index of a particular element, you can use the index function. So after this dot, we have something called as index, and then inside the open and close parenthesis, we have to provide the element for which we want to find the index. So let's say I want to find the index of this element, that is number 5 over here. So it is 4 basically. Let me just save this file and try running this code and confirm. So as you can see, 4, that is the index of this element, is getting printed over here. So guys, these functions you can use based on your requirements as far as tuple is concerned. Now one very important thing, iterating through a tuple in Python. So we can use the for loop to iterate over the elements of a tuple. So basically we have seen this in the previous video as well. So far we have printed the elements of the tuple by using the variable name in this way. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. As you can see, all the elements are getting printed, but there is a problem over here. We are getting this open and close parenthesis also while printing these elements. What if we only want to print single element at a time? So we can simply use the for loop and iterate through all the elements over here inside the tuple. So we use the for keyword followed by, let's say, the temporary variable as the item, and then we have the in keyword and then the name of the variable, that is the sequence, which is tuple 1 in this case. And then we simply have to print this item, that is item variable. Now what will happen is all the items will be printed on separate lines over here, because by default the end parameter of this print function is having the /n character. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. As you can see, all the elements are getting printed on the new line. What if we want all the elements to be present on the same line separated by comma over here? So we simply have to provide comma, and then there is something called as end parameter for this print function. So we use that, and inside the double quotes we provide the comma over here, which will be kind of a separator for all those elements which will be printed on the terminal. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, all the elements now are getting printed on the same line and they are separated with a comma. If you want a space character after comma, that can also be done. You provide comma followed by the space character. Let me just save this file now and try running this code. So all the elements are separated with a comma character and then a space character additionally for a better readability. So guys, this is another way you can use the for loop in order to iterate through all the elements of the tuple. Now let us understand what are the different advantages of a tuple over list in Python. So we generally use tuples for heterogeneous, that is different data types, and list for homogeneous, which means similar data types. So in a tuple you can have the different data types as well. So basically the tuple is being used for that purpose only, and we cannot change the elements inside the tuple. So since tuples are immutable, which means you cannot change the data inside the tuple once they are assigned, iterating through a tuple is faster than with a list. So behind the scenes what is happening is the program already knows that the tuple elements will not be changed, and for this reason the tuple is little bit faster compared to the list. So there is a slight performance boost over here. Now tuples that contain immutable elements can be used as a key for a dictionary as well. With a list this is not possible. So inside a dictionary, as you must be knowing, there are key value pairs and the elements of the tuple can be considered as keys for the dictionary. If you have data that doesn't change, implementing it as a tuple will guarantee that it remains write protected. So nobody can change the elements of a tuple if you want some data to be fixed whenever you are implementing the list of elements that should be present in a sequence and that must not be changed. So guys, these are certain advantages of a tuple over a list in Python programming. Sets in Python programming. So guys, a set is a collection of a unique data, which means that the elements in a set cannot be duplicate elements. So over here you can easily create a set in the Python. Basically in Python we create the sets by placing all the elements inside the curly braces separated by comma. So guys, previously we have seen that for the list we are using the open and close square brackets. For the tuple we use the open and close parenthesis, and over here for sets we are using the open and close curly braces. So we will check this with the help of examples as well. A set can have any number of items and they may be of different types. So as you can see, it can be of the integer, float, tuple or string data type or any other data type. But a set cannot have mutable elements like list, sets or dictionaries as its elements. So guys, this is very important. You cannot have another list, set or a dictionary, which we are going to see in the upcoming videos over here. We cannot have these kinds of data types inside a particular set. Now let us check the creation of set with the help of example now over here. So let's say I provide set1 as the variable name, and then we provide the equal to symbol followed by the open and close curly braces. So inside these braces we have to provide the elements of the set. So let's say we have the set of integers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 and then 5. So guys, we have 5 elements over here, 1 to 5, which are the elements of this set, and simply we can print all these elements inside the set by using the print function over here, and then we can say set elements are and then colon, and then we can have set1, that is the variable name. So guys, let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, we are getting set elements are, we are getting all the elements, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And guys, this is the way that we can create a set in the Python programming. Now guys, it is very important that we cannot have the duplicate items in this set. So let's say I provide some more numbers over here which are already present in this set. So let's say 2 and 3 are already present. I provide this 2 and 3 once again. So when we do this, so right now we have 7 number of elements, but let me just save this file now and try running this code to see how many elements get printed. So as you can see, only 5 elements are getting printed. So those 2 elements, that is 2 and 3, will not be considered once again while printing them, because we cannot have duplicate elements. We can only have the unique elements inside the set. And guys, this is the main functionality of having the set data structure in Python programming. So based on your requirements, if you don't want the duplicate elements to be present, you can use the set data structure in the Python programming language. Now guys, how do we create an empty set in the Python? So basically, creating an empty set is a bit tricky. So empty curly braces if we use, then it will make an empty dictionary in Python. So basically, when we create a dictionary, we again use the curly braces. So let us check this with the help of example now over here. What happens if we create the empty set? So let's say we provide set 1, it is equal to open and close curly braces. As you can see, we have not provided any element and this is the empty set. But let me just print the type of this variable over here. So we will simply use the type function and then provide the set1 as the variable name. So guys, what will be the type of this set1 variable? So let me just save this file now and try running this code. As you can see, it is saying that class, it is a dictionary data type. So this set1 variable is of the data type dictionary by default when we provide the open and close curly braces. How do we make it as a empty set data type? So what we have to do is, instead of using the open and close curly braces, we have to use the set function. So there is something called a set function over here. As you can see, VS Code is suggesting us. So this set function followed by the open and close parenthesis will help us to create a new empty set over here. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. Over here, what we are trying to do is, again we are trying to print the type of this set1, but this time it should be of the set data type. So let me just run this code now. So as you can see, we are getting the set data type over here. Previously we were getting the dictionary. So in order to have the empty set in Python programming, we can use the set function over here. Now very important question, how do we add the set items in Python? So basically sets are mutable, which means we can add and remove items from the set. However, since they are unordered, indexing has no meaning. So guys, basically if you must have noticed, there is no one order in which the set items were printed previously. So let us check this once again. Over here we provide set1, it is equal to, and let's say we provide some elements, that is 3, 2, 4, 1, 5, and then let me just print this set1 over here. So we provide set1 inside the print function. Let me just run this code. As you can see, we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not of the same order in which we have provided these elements inside the set. So we cannot use index numbers over here as well in order to access these elements one at a time, since the way in which the elements inside the set are printed are not in a particular order. Now guys, how do we add new elements to this set? So basically, we cannot access or change an element of a set using the indexing or slicing, but we can use the add method to add an item to a set. So let us say I want to add another element over here. So basically what we will do is, we will say initial set and then colon, and then we provide set1, and then let's say we provide set1 dot, we have something called as add over here. As you can see, this is a function that we can use in order to add elements inside the set. So let's say we provide 10 as the number to be added to this particular set, that is set1, and then again we want to print that set1. So I'll just copy this and paste this over here, and then we have updated set over here. So we have updated set and then set1 being printed. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, initial set it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then after adding this element, we are getting the updated set as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then the last element that is 10 over here, which is being added by using the add method. And this is the way that we can add the elements inside the set. Remember that the order in which they are added will not be followed while printing them, so you cannot rely on the order in which the set elements will be printed on console. Now guys, another important thing, how do we remove an element from the set? So we can use the discard method to remove the specified element from a set. So let us say after adding this, we want to remove the element that is 3 from this set. So what we can do is we can provide set1 and then followed by dot, and then we can have discard method. In order to remove the element, we need to provide the element which needs to be removed. So over here we provide the number 3 which will be removed from the set1, and then again let me just copy this line of code and paste this over here so that we can print the updated set after removing. So over here we say updated set after removing 3, and then let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, we are getting 1, 2, 4, 5 and then 10. So the element 3 is being removed after using the discard method over here. And guys, this is the way that we can remove the elements from the set. Now guys, there is another way in order to access the elements inside the set. We can iterate over a set in Python by using the for loop. So this can be easily done by using the for loop over here. So what I will do is I'll just clear these lines of code and then we will say for and then item in set1. So this is the syntax that we use while using the for loop, and then we can have the print statement over here. Guys, notice that till now we were printing the elements of the set by using the set1 variable, and that is why we were getting the starting and the ending open and close curly braces over here. But this time let's say we don't want those, but we want only those numbers, that is the elements inside the set, to be printed. So we can easily use the for loop and iterate through each and every item inside the set. And this is the way that we can do so. We provide the print statement over here, and inside the item variable, one at a time, all the elements will be printed over here. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now all these numbers are on a different line. What we can do is we can use the end parameter of the print function. So over here we provide the end parameter, and then we simply provide the space character so that all the items are separated by the space characters over here. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are the elements of this set. If you want all these numbers to be separated by commas, what we can do is instead of the space character, we can provide the comma. And let me just save this file and try running this code once again. As you can see, we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all the elements are being separated using the comma character. Now guys, how do we find the number of set elements? So we can use the len method, that is the length method, to find the number of elements that is present inside the set. So what we can do is simply we can provide the print statement over here, and we can simply say that length of set is, and then colon, and then we can simply use the len method, and then inside this method we can provide the set1, that is the variable name. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as we can see, length of set is 5. So basically, since 5 elements are present over here, we are getting the length as 5. What if we provide some more elements? Let's say I provide 6, 7, and let's say I provide some more duplicate elements over here, that is 1, 2, and then 3. So over here there are total 10 elements, out of which 3 elements are duplicate. So what is the exact length of the set? So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, length of set is 7. So even though we are having 10 items inside this set, but out of those 10 items, 3 items are duplicate items. So those duplicate items will not be considered. It will be considered only once, and that is why we are getting the length of this set as 7. Now guys, very important thing about the set operations, we can carry out different set operations in Python programming. One is union of 2 sets, which can be done by using the union method or this or symbol over here. We can also have the set intersection, which can be implemented by using the intersection method, and then we also have the difference between the 2 sets, which means we can use the difference method or the minus symbol over here. So guys, let us check all these operations one at a time. So over here what we will do is we will have 2 sets over here. We will say set 1, it is equal to 1, 2 and then 3, and then let's say we have set 2, it is equal to 3, 4 and then 5. Now guys, let's say we want to find the union first. So what we will do is we will say union, and then we will simply say set 1 followed by dot, and then we have the union method followed by the parameter needs to be set 2 over here, because that is the another set that we want to find the union of. Similarly, we will do the intersection and difference as well. So I'll just copy and paste these lines of code over here. We will say intersection in this case, and then we will simply change the union method to intersection over here, and then over here we will say difference. So difference, and then instead of this union we will say difference. So guys, basically what we are doing over here is these are all the set operations. The union will find all the elements that are present in set 1 and set 2, and all the elements will be unique. In the intersection part, we will get all the elements that are common in both the sets, which means 3 in this case. And then in the difference, we will find all the elements that are present in set 1 but not present in set 2. So guys, let me just save this file now and try running this code to see what will be the results of all these operations. So as you can see, the union is giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means all the elements that are present in set 1 and set 2. So we are having 1, 2, 3 in set 1, and then in set 2 the 3 is already printed, and then it is printing 4 and 5 as well. In intersection we are getting only 3. That's because the element 3 is the only element which is common in both the sets. For the difference operation we are getting only 1 and 2. That's because these are the only 2 elements which are present in set 1 but not present in set 2. So guys, these are certain set operations that can be implemented with Python programming. Apart from this, there are multiple built-in methods that you can use as far as sets are concerned. So when we provide the variable name that is set1 followed by dot, as you can see, these are all the methods that can be used based on your requirements. Dictionary in Python programming. So guys, the Python dictionary is an ordered collection of items. It stores elements in the form of key value pairs. So basically on the left hand side we have a key, and on the right hand side we have the value, and such key value pairs are known as dictionary in Python programming. Now guys, the keys are unique identifiers that are associated with each value. So basically we cannot have duplicate keys in a dictionary, whereas we can have the duplicate values in the dictionary. So as you can see, for example, over here on left hand side we are having the keys, on right hand side we are having the values. So Nepal, Italy and England, these are certain keys over here, and they are capital, that is Kathmandu, Rome and then London. These are the values on the right hand side. So how do we create a dictionary in Python? We can have any variable name in this case, and after the equal to symbol, inside the open and close curly braces we are having the key value pairs. So since this is a string, we are enclosing it within the double quotes over here, and then after the key, that is Nepal, we are providing a colon in this case, followed by the value which is again inside the double quotes, and then separated by commas we have more key value pairs over here. So guys, this is the way that we can create the dictionary. So guys, let us check this with the help of examples now over here. So let us say we have dict1, that is the variable name, followed by equal to, and then let's say we provide the same data over here. So I'll just copy and paste this line. So we have copied the same key value pairs over here. Now simply we can print this key value pairs by using the print function, and then followed by dict1, which is the variable name. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. As you can see, we are getting all the key value pairs over here being printed on the console. So guys, this is the way that we can create the dictionary along with the key value pairs that we want to store inside the dictionary. Now how do we add elements to a Python dictionary? So we can add the elements to a dictionary using the name of the dictionary with open and close square brackets. So guys, over here what we will do is we will say initial dictionary. So this label we have added so that we can identify that this is the initial dictionary. Now what we will do is we will add one more key value pair inside the same dictionary. So what we have to do is we have to use this variable name, that is dict1, followed by open and close square brackets, and inside this we have to provide the key. So let's say the key over here we provide India as the key, and then the capital of India, it is Delhi. So over here the value that we have to provide is Delhi in this case. So what we have done is we have provided the variable name and then followed by the open and close square brackets, and inside those brackets we have to provide the key. In this case it is a string, and then we have equal to followed by the value for this key, which is again another string. And then guys, what we will do is, let's say we want to print this entire dictionary once again, so we will print this, and over here we will say updated dictionary and then again dict1. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, we have the updated dictionary as we have Nepal, Italy, England, and then the last element that we have added just now is the key, that is India, and Delhi, that is the capital of India, as the value. So guys, this is the way that we can add elements inside the dictionary in the form of key value pairs. Now guys, how do we change the value of a dictionary? So we can again use the open and close square brackets in order to change the value associated with a particular key. So guys, let us check this with the help of example now. So over here what we will do is, let's say we have added this key value pair, that is for India, we have the capital, that is Delhi. But now let us say, instead of having the capital as the value, we can provide any city as the value for this country. So what we can do is, again we can provide the variable name, that is dict1, and then for this key, that is India, we want to update the value. So let's say this time the value that we provide is Mumbai, which is a very popular city in India. So we provide Mumbai over here, and then again we are printing this dictionary once again. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, the updated dictionary, first time it is showing India, that is Delhi, and then the second time, that is updated dictionary, it is showing India, and this time the value it is Mumbai in this case. So guys, this is the way, the same way is used in order to add the key value pair, and in order to update the key value pair as well, we have to make sure that whatever key we want to update, it is case sensitive. If let's say I provide the small I over here, so in this case it will add a key value pair. Since this India is not matching with this India, that's because over here we are having the capital I and over here we are having the small I. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. This time we are getting the 5 key value pairs in this case. So India, Delhi, and then we have the small I and then Mumbai. So guys, make sure that whenever you are updating the key value pairs, the key of the dictionary must exactly match with the existing keys that are present in the dictionary. Now guys, how do we access the elements from the dictionary? So in Python we use the keys to access their corresponding values. So let us check this with the help of examples now over here. So let's say we have these 3 key value pairs as the original dictionary. Now we only want to print the value of this particular key, that is Nepal over here. So what we will do is, we will simply have the print statement and then we will say dict1, that is the variable name, followed by open and close square brackets, and we simply provide this key, that is Nepal over here. So inside the double quotes we provide Nepal over here. So let me just save this file and try running this code now. So as you can see, we are getting the value of this key, that is Nepal. Similarly, if we provide Italy as the key, so I'll just replace Nepal by Italy over here. So as you can see, we are getting the value as Rome because the value for this key, that is Italy, is Rome over here. So in this way we can easily access the values of the keys that we want to print. Now guys, how do we remove the elements from the dictionary? So we use the del statement to remove an element from the dictionary. So what we will do is, let's say I want to print the original dictionary over here. So we will say original dictionary and then colon, and then we say dict1. Now guys, what we will do is, let's say I want to delete this key value pair, that is Nepal and Kathmandu. So we will use delete and then followed by dict1 and then open and close square brackets, and inside this we have the double quotes and we simply provide the key over here, that is Nepal. So this statement will help us in order to delete this particular key, that is Nepal and Kathmandu over here. So let me just print this dictionary once again. So over here we have updated dictionary, and then let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, original dictionary, we are getting all the 3 key value pairs, that is Nepal, Italy and England over here along with their values. But the updated dictionary, it is giving us only 2 key value pairs, that is Italy, that is Rome, and for England we are getting London. So over here, this key value pair, that is for Nepal, we are having the Kathmandu value. This was removed because of this particular statement that we have used in order to remove the Nepal key and its value as well. Now guys, as far as dictionary membership test is concerned, we can test if a key is in a dictionary or not using the keyword in. So in keyword is used in order to check the membership test. So note that the membership test is only for the keys and not for the values. So guys, let's say over here, I'll just remove these lines of code. So for this original dictionary, we want to find whether the key Italy is present inside the dictionary or not. So we will say print, and then we can simply say Italy, and then we use the in keyword followed by dict1. So guys, what exactly we are doing is we are checking whether this string it is present in dict1 or not. So let me just save this file and try running this code. So as you can see, it is showing us true over here. That's because the key Italy is present inside the dictionary. But the same thing is not applicable when we provide one of the values inside the dictionary. So let's say we provide Rome as the value over here. So Rome in dict1. So let me just save this file and try running this code. So as you can see, it is showing us false. That's because Rome is the value and it is not one of the keys that are present inside the dictionary. So guys, we can also use the in keyword in order to check whether a particular key is present inside the dictionary, and it is only applicable for the list of keys over here. Now guys, we can also iterate through the dictionary by using the for loop over here. So what we can do is simply we can use the for loop in order to print all the key value pairs. So over here we have the for keyword followed by, let's say we provide the key variable name, and then we provide the in keyword, and then followed by the variable name, that is dict1, and then colon. So what we will do is we will simply have the print statement, and then let's say we want to print the key value pairs in the particular format. So we will say key in this case, and then followed by comma, and then let's say we provide arrow over here, and then after this we provide the value. So how do we access the value? We provide the dict1, that is the variable name, and then inside the open and close square brackets we provide the key in this case. So guys, basically what is happening over here is all the keys that are present inside this variable, one at a time it will be assigned to this key, and this key we are printing on the left hand side, and then we are having the hyphen and the arrow symbol, and then using this key variable we are getting the value from this dictionary in this case. So guys, let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting Nepal, so Kathmandu is the value. Then for the key Italy, we are getting Rome as the value, and for England we are getting the London as the value. So guys, this is the way that we can use the for loop in order to iterate through all the key value pairs inside the dictionary. File reading in Python programming. So guys, a file is a container in computer storage devices used for storing data. So when we want to read from a file, we need to open it first. When we are done, it needs to be closed so that the resources that are tied with the file are freed. So guys, we are going to check this with the help of example, how we can open the file in order to read the content of the file, and then after that we can close the file as well. So basically in Python, a file operation takes place in the following order. First of all, we have to open the file. Then the next thing is we read the file content, and then after reading the file content, we close the file. So basically the first operation, that is opening the file, we can use the open method to open a file. So as you can see, for example over here, we are providing the variable name on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side we have the open function, and then we have the path of the file where the file is stored, and then by default it is opened in the read mode. We can also use the second parameter and provide the character, that is R, for reading the file, and in order to write into the file we use W as the character over here in this case. And then guys, after this we can read the file in Python by using the read method. So basically this variable that we had used on the left hand side, we can use the same variable over here in order to call the function, that is read, and this will help us in order to read the content into the variable, that is read content. And then in order to close the file, we can simply use the close method. So guys, let us check all this with the help of example now over here. So let's say we have the variable name, that is file1, and then followed by equal to, and then we use the function name, that is open, in order to open the file. And then inside the open and close parenthesis, we are going to have the path of the file that we want to open. So guys, over here I have the test file for which I have written some content over here. So we have these 4 lines inside the test file. So what we can do is, so guys, we have to copy the entire path of this directory. This is very important. In whichever directory your file is, you have to copy the entire path of that directory and paste this into your code so that your code can access that directory and the file that you want to read. So basically over here inside the double quotes, we have to provide the directory path and then followed by the name of the file that we want to read. So over here I'll just copy the name of the file, that is the test file, and paste this over here followed by .txt. Now guys, it is very important that while you're copying the directory path, you will be getting this backslashes over here. So you have to provide another backslash, since this one backslash is acting as the escape character. So you have to provide 2 backslashes over here every time that you are providing the directory path. So I'll just provide extra backslashes over here at every instance in this directory path. So guys, this is our entire path over here, followed by the test file, that is the file name, and then the extension, that is .txt. Now guys, the second step is to read this file. So the first step is completed, that we have opened the file. Now the next step is to read the content. So we will say read underscore content as the variable name, followed by equal to, we use this file1 variable that we have used in order to open the file, followed by dot, and then we have the read method. So this method will help us in order to read the content into this read content variable, and then guys, simply we can print the read content variable. So over here we can say read content. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting all the 4 lines that are present inside the test file. So if I open the test file over here once again, it says this is a test line in a test file. So the same line is printed over here on the console. This is a test line in a test file. Similarly, we have the other 3 lines. It is, this is another test line. Then we have, this is 3rd line. And then this is 4th line in test file. So all those lines that are present inside the test file are being printed over here on the console. So guys, this is one of the easiest way that you can open the file in a particular directory, read the content by using the read function, and then you can print the content of the file by using the print function. Now guys, after these operations are completed, what you have to do is you have to close the file, which is very important. So as you can see, when we are done with performing operations on the file, we need to properly close the file. Now closing a file will free up the resources that were tied with the file. It is done using the close method in Python. So basically, after printing the content, what we can do is simply we can provide file1 followed by dot, and then we can have the close method being called. So let me just save this file now, and before running this code, we will have another print function over here, and we will print the statement that is file is closed, in order to confirm that the control flow has reached the final statement over here in our code. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, all the 4 lines are being printed over here from the file once again, and then we are also getting file is closed being printed over here, and in this way we have already closed the file by using the close function as well. So guys, this is the way you can read the content of the file. Just by using these 4 lines of code, we can easily read the entire content of any of the file that we want to read based on our requirements. File writing in Python programming. So guys, in Python, a file operation takes place in the following order. So basically, first of all, we have to open the file. Then secondly, we can write into the file that we have opened, and the last step is to close the file. So these are the operations in this order in which we have to follow while writing the content into the file. Now there are 2 things we need to remember while writing to a file. So first of all, if we try to open a file that doesn't exist, so a new file will be created in this case. So guys, we are going to check this with the help of example as well. And in the second case, if a file already exists, then its content is erased and new content is added to the file again. So guys, these are the 2 important things that you should know while writing into the file. If the file is not already present, then a new file will be created, and if the file is already present, then the existing content will be removed and the new content will be added into the file. So guys, the first operation is opening the file over here, in which case we can use the open method to open the file, and this is the example we have the variable on the left hand side, and then we have the open method followed by the name of the file over here along with the entire path if it is present in some other directory, and then followed by the second parameter, that is W, which stands for the write mode. So guys, let us check this with the help of example now over here. So what we will do is we will say file1, which is the variable name, followed by equal to, and then we have the open method in this case. So we have to provide the name of the file along with the directory path inside the parenthesis and the double quotes over here. So what we will do is we are going to use this directory over here in order to create a new file and write the content into the file. So guys, over here there are only two files, that is Python tutorial and test file. We are going to create a third file, that is output.txt, in which we are going to write the content by using the code over here. So basically I'm going to paste the entire directory path, and in order to avoid any errors, I'll just use the double backslashes over here, since these are the escape characters. So we provide the double backslashes, and then at the end we have to provide the name of the file. So I'll simply provide output.txt in this case. And then guys, the second parameter needs to be the writing mode. So over here inside the double quotes we can say W, which means we are opening the file in the write mode in this case. Now guys, we have completed the first step. Now what is the next step? Writing into the file. So basically writing in a file in a Python. So after we open a file, we use the write method to write the content in the file, and this is the way. As you can see in this example, we have the variable name, that is file1, followed by dot, and then we have the write method, and then the content that we want to write into the file. So guys, basically what we will do is on the second line over here we will say file1 followed by dot, and then we have the write method. This write method can be used in order to write the content into the file, and it takes certain parameters. The parameters will be the string or the integer numbers that you want to print or store inside the file. So guys, let's say I want to provide this is first line in output file. So guys, this is the content that we want to write into the file, and this is the way that we can use the write function in order to write the content into the file, and it takes the parameter as the string which we want to store inside the file. Now after writing, what we have to do is we have to close the file. So when we are done with performing operations on the file, we need to properly close the file. Closing a file will free up the resources that were tied with the file. It is done using the close method in Python. So as you can see in this example, we have file1.close. So over here we can simply provide file1.close in this case, and then open and close parenthesis. It doesn't take any parameters over here. So guys, let me just save this file now. Before running this code, I'll show you the directory once again. We have only two files over here, that is Python tutorial and test file. We are going to have a third file over here, that is the output.txt, that will be created after execution of this code. So before running this code, what I will do is I'll have the print statement so that we get the confirmation that the code is executed. So we will say file created successfully. So this is the statement that will be printed after all the lines of code are executed. So guys, let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting file created successfully, and if we go inside the directory now, as you can see, we are getting the third file over here, that is the output in this case. So if we open this file, as you can see, this is first line in output file, and this is what we have printed by using our program. This is first line in output file. The same statement is being printed over here. It is being stored in our output file. And guys, this is the way that we have created a new file by using the Python code in a particular directory that we wanted, and also return the content into the file by using the two methods. That is, first of all, we have used the open function in order to open the file in the write mode, and then we have used the write function in order to write the content into the file. Now guys, let us say we have another scenario. In the same file, we want to update the first line to this is first line, and I'll just remove this in output file content over here. So we have this short message, that is, this is first line, and then what I will do is we have another statement. So again we will have the file one dot write, and then we can say this is second line in this case. So guys, we are having the two lines over here now, and this will act as a kind of update now. That's because we already have this output.txt file in this directory, and now what we are doing is simply we are opening it once again, and these lines will be stored in the file. And guys, remember that while you are opening the existing file, what we already saw is the content is erased and the new content is added to the file. So basically these two lines will be printed inside the output.txt file. And now what we will do is for this print function, we will say file updated successfully. So guys, let me just save this file now. Before running this code, I'll show you that file once again. Over here we have the output file. I'll just open this file. We are having this is first line in a output file. So let me just close this now, and what we will do is we will run this code. So as you can see, file updated successfully, we are getting this message. We'll go to the directory to check what is the content. So as you can see, both the statements are getting printed over here. This is first line and then followed by this is second line. Now guys, what happened is both the lines have continued on the same line, but we can have them on the separate lines as well. So what we can do is in our code, we can simply provide the /n character at the end of the first line over here, so that the control flow goes to the next line while printing this statement, that is this is second line. So guys, let me just save this file and try running this code now once again. So it says file updated successfully. We come back over here in the directory, we open the output file. Now as you can see, this is first line, and then we have on the other line, this is second line over here. So guys, in this way we can easily write the content in the file. We can also have the multiple lines of content being stored in the file that we opened by using the Python programming language. Guys, this concept of reading and writing the files are very important as far as your project requirements are concerned. So please make sure that you practice on your own, so that on different inputs you get different output. Apart from this, can we use the with open syntax in order to write a file? So you can try this as a homework for you. You can watch my previous video as well, in which I have explained you how we can use the with open syntax in order to read the file, and in which case we don't have to close the file. That's because it is automatically handled by this with open syntax for us. So please treat this as a homework for you, and comment in the comment section below whether you were able to use the with open syntax in order to write into the file. Object-oriented programming in Python. So guys, we are going to check the classes and objects with the help of examples. Python is a versatile programming language that supports various programming styles, including object-oriented programming through the use of objects and classes, which we are going to see with the help of examples as well. Now, an object is any entity that has attributes and behaviors. So for example, a parrot is an object and it has multiple attributes. As you can see, there are multiple attributes that can be present, which is name, then we have age, color, and so on. Apart from that, it also has certain behaviors such as whether it can dance or not. So dancing is one of the behavior. Whether it can sing or not. So singing is another behavior. Now I'm not sure whether a parrot can really dance or not, but these are certain behaviors that we can consider in order to understand classes and objects. Now guys, similarly, a class is a blueprint for that object. So basically these objects are having the attributes and behaviors, and the values will be stored in these objects, but the blueprint will be present inside the class. So basically this class can be treated as a template which has certain attributes and behaviors being defined over here, and we can create multiple objects related to that class. So we are going to check with the help of example, how do we create a class parrot with the attributes as name and age. So let us move to the VS Code over here. The very first thing that we have to create is the class. So basically we have to provide the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So let's say the parrot is the name of the class over here, and then we have a colon, and then we can have different attributes. So one of the attributes is name over here. We will assign it with a empty string, and then we have age as well. We will assign it as 0 over here as the initial value. Now guys, these are the two attributes that we have defined for this class, that is parrot. Now we can create different objects out of this class. Now this class is acting as a blueprint, or we can say as a template, in order to create multiple objects. So we will come out of this class, and what we will do is we will create the objects for this class. So let's say we have parrot1 followed by equal to operator, and then we can simply provide the name of the class, that is parrot, followed by the open and close parenthesis. So this is the way that we can initialize an object for this class, that is parrot, and then we can use this object in order to initialize these attributes, that is name and age. So over here what we will do is we will use this parrot1 object followed by dot, and as you can see we are getting this name and age being auto suggested by the VS Code. That's because we have already defined these attributes inside this blueprint, that is class parrot. So over here we are going to provide the name as the name of the parrot1 object. So let's say we provide the name as blue over here, and then let's say we also want to provide the age of this parrot object. So again we will provide parrot1 followed by dot, and then we have the age attribute. Let's say it is 2 years old, so we have 2 as the parrot's age. Now guys, let's say we want to create another object with another name and age. So again we will copy these lines of code and paste this over here. What I will do is instead of parrot1 we will say parrot2, because this is another object. So this is the second object that we are creating by using this parrot class, and over here again we will say parrot2 dot name and parrot2 dot age. So let's say the name of the parrot2 is Wu and its age is 5 over here, so 5 years. So guys, over here we have created 2 objects for this class, that is parrot. Similarly we can create any number of objects that we want. It's very important to note that while creating the objects we provide this variable name on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we provide the name of the class followed by the open and close parenthesis, and then we can call the different attributes of that class in order to initialize them. Now guys, after these objects are being initialized with their names and age, we can simply print them on the console. So what we can do is we can have the print statement with the formatting being enabled. So over here inside the print statement we can have the F followed by the double quotes, and then what we can do is open and close curly braces. Inside this we can have the parent1 dot name over here is, and then followed by curly braces parrot1 dot age, and then we can have years old. So guys, basically what is happening over here is inside the open and close curly braces we can provide the variable names in order to get their values being printed inside the print statement. So this parrot1 dot name will give us the value of this variable, that is blue over here, and then followed by is, and then again we will get parrot1 dot age, which is 2 in this case. So blue is 2 years old. So this is a statement that should get printed, and then similarly we can copy this line of code and paste this over here, and instead of parrot1 we can simply say parrot2. So we have parrot2 dot name and then parrot2 dot age. So guys, let me just save this file now and try running this code. As you can see, blue is 2 years old. This is what is getting printed by using the first print statement, and over here again we are getting Wu is 5 years old. So this is the second print statement that is helping us in order to print this particular statement. So guys, this is the way that we can easily create a class. In this case we have created the parrot class and we have 2 attributes, that is name and age. You can have any number of attributes for the class based on your requirements, and apart from that, while creating the objects you can have the values for those attributes based on those particular individual objects, and then you can call those attributes by using the objects that you have just initialized by using this statement, that is the object on the left hand side followed by equal to operator, and then we have the class name followed by the open and close parenthesis. This is called instantiating of the object, or we can also call it as initializing an object in Python programming. Inheritance in Python programming. So guys, inheritance is a way of creating a new class for using details of an existing class. So this we are going to check with the help of examples as well. The newly formed class is a derived class which is also called as a child class, and similarly the existing class is a base class or the parent class. So guys, what we are doing over here is we are already creating a parent class that is also called as a base class over here, and then we also create a child class for which the attributes are derived from the parent class from here, and this is what is called as the inheritance. Now what will be inherited? All the attributes, provided that they are public, along with the methods, will be inherited by the child class. So guys, let us check Python inheritance with the help of example now over here. So let us switch to the VS Code. First of all, we will create the parent class. So let us say we have the class that is called as animal over here, and inside this animal class we will define 2 functions, that is eat and sleep. So we will have def keyword followed by eat, that is function 1, and then inside the parenthesis we are going to have the parameter that is self. Always remember guys, whenever we are calling the function inside the class, it is going to take a single parameter which is going to be the object by default. So we need to catch that object with any name as a parameter over here. So we have given the name of this parameter as self over here so that we can identify that this is the object, and then we can use this object as well in order to access its attributes. And inside this eat function we are going to have a simple print statement, and we will say I can eat. So guys, this is a statement that is going to be printed when we call the eat function using the animal object. And then similarly we will have the sleep method as well. So we have def keyword followed by sleep method, and then again we will have the parameter as the self which will be passed by default, and then inside this again we are going to have the print statement, and we can say I can sleep. So guys, these are two methods or functions that we have defined inside the parent class, that is the animal class. Now guys, how do we inherit these methods to another class? So let's say we have another class over here which will be a child class of the animal class. So we are going to have another class, and let's say the name of the class is dog over here, and then in order to have its attributes and functions of the superclass, that is the animal, after this name of the class, that is dog, we have to provide open and close parenthesis, and inside this parenthesis we have to provide the name of the superclass, that is animal in this case. So this particular class, that is animal, we want to inherit its attributes and functions inside the child class, that is dog. So this is the way that we inherit the superclass. And now we can have a colon over here, and then we can have the attributes and the functions of this class, that is dog class, separately. So over here we are going to have the def keyword followed by, let's say I am simply going to have the display method over here, and it is going to take one parameter, that is self, and then we are simply going to print that we are inside dog class. So this particular statement will be printed whenever we are going to call this display method over here. So guys, this is the way that Python inheritance works. What I will do is I'll just zoom out little bit so that you can see the entire code at once. So over here we have created the superclass, that is the animal class, and then we are creating another class that is called as the child class, and after the name of the child class we are providing the name of the superclass over here, that is the parent class, inside the open and close parenthesis. And what this will do is the eat and sleep methods will be now available inside the dog class as well. So guys, why this is important? So let us come out of this class now, and what we will do is let us create the object of this class, that is the dog class. So what I will do over here is we will create dog1, that is the object of the dog class, followed by equal to, and then the name of the class, that is dog over here. So we have created one object of the dog class. Now guys, ideally we have seen that we can call the display method which belongs to the dog class. So we can do that over here. So I am going to call the dog1 object followed by dot, and then we have the display method. So after this we are going to have the open and close parenthesis. Let me just save this file first and try running this code now. So as you can see, we are inside dog class, which means this statement is getting printed. Now guys, do we have any other method apart from this display method? Yes, we do have, and those are eat and sleep methods. Why so? Because we have inherited the methods from the animal class by using the Python inheritance. So basically we can use this object name, that is dog1, in order to call eat and sleep methods over here. So if we call both the methods, so I'll say dog1 followed by dot, and then as you can see VS Code is suggesting us this eat method as well. So we have eat followed by open and close parenthesis, and then again we will call the dog1 object followed by dot, and then sleep method is also being suggested by the VS Code. So we are going to call both the methods over here. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting all the three statements, that is we are inside dog class, I can eat and I can sleep, which are the statements that are being printed by using these methods respectively. So guys, this is the power of Python inheritance. We can use the different attributes and the methods that were defined in a superclass inside the subclass by using the object of the child class over here, which is also called as the subclass over here. Guys, it is very important to note that whenever we are defining the methods inside the class, we need to provide one parameter over here, which is going to be the object that will be passed. So behind behind the scenes what is happening over here is when we call dog1.display over here, the dog1 object is being passed with this display method. Even though we are not providing any parameter over here, but behind the scenes the object is being passed over here and it needs to be caught by this particular method. What happens if we don't provide this parameter? Let us check this. So I'll just remove this self keyword over here and I'll just save this file now. Over here we are not receiving any parameter as we can see. So let me just run this code now. So as you can see, type error dog.display takes 0 positional arguments but 1 was given. So basically behind the scenes this dog1 object is being passed and we need to have a parameter over here while defining the function, and that is the reason why we had given this self parameter name in order to identify that this is the object of this particular class, that is dog. So let me just save this file now and try running this code once again. So as you can see, there are no more errors that are getting displayed and all the 3 statements are getting displayed over here. Now guys, what are the uses of inheritance? So as you can see, since a child class can inherit all the functionalities of the parents class, this allows code reusability. So as you can see over here, we need not have to provide the eat and sleep methods once again inside the dog class, and we were able to access both these methods by using the object of the dog class without actually providing the definition of those methods over here. Once a functionality is developed, you can simply inherit it. No need to reinvent the wheel. This allows for cleaner code and easier to maintain. Now since you can also add your own functionalities in the child class, you can inherit only the useful functionalities and define other required features. So guys, based on your requirement, it depends on you which class you want to inherit and create the child classes and the parent classes over here based on your project requirements. Constructor in Python programming. Now guys, a Python constructor is a function inside a class that helps us to initialize certain attributes of a class. So far we have seen creating the class attributes and the functions, and while initializing the attributes of the class's object, we use the object name followed by the dot and then the attribute name. But is there a better way in order to initialize those attributes inside the class? Yes, it is. So we have something called as double times underscore followed by init and then again double times underscore followed by open and close parenthesis, which is a constructor function that is called whenever a new object of that class is instantiated. So guys, let us check this with the help of example now. So let us move to the VS Code. What we will do is we will create a class that is called as the parent class over here, and we will define 2 attributes. So over here we have the name, which is of the string data type. So let's say we have the empty string initially, and then let's say we have the age attribute which is defined as 0 over here, which is the integer. So guys, what we will do is, let us say we want to create the object of this class. So what we have to do is, let's say we provide the object name as parrot1 followed by equal to operator, and then we have the name of the class, that is parrot, followed by open and close parenthesis. Now guys, so far what we had done is, in order to initialize both these attributes, we were calling this object name followed by dot and then the name of the attribute. So let us do that first. So we are going to use the parrot1 object over here followed by dot, and then let's say the name of the parrot, it is blue over here. So we provide the name of the parrot and then we also provide the age of the parrot. So let's say parrot1.age, it is equal to 2 years old, and then we can simply print the name and age of this parrot. So let us say we provide the print method over here and we provide the parrot1 object. So parrot1 followed by dot and then we have name is, and then again we want to get the age. So parrot1 dot age and then we have years old. So over here blue is 2 years old will be displayed. So let us save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, blue is 2 years old. So guys, this is the conventional way that we had seen so far in order to instantiate an object of the class and also assign the values to the attributes of that class. So is there a better way in order to assign these values to these attributes? Yes, we can do so by using the constructor. So what we can do is we can simply remove these 2 lines of code over here. So I'll just remove them, and then guys, inside this class we are going to have the init method, which is the constructor. So over here we are going to have the def keyword followed by double times underscore, and then we have the init. So as you can see, VS Code is suggesting us this method which we are going to use. So init, and it is going to take one parameter by default. As I have already told you previously, whenever we are going to call any method inside the class, the object that is used in order to call that method is also passed by default behind the scenes. So the self parameter represents the object of this parrot class over here. I'll just remove this part, and what we are going to do is we are going to take both these attributes, that is name and age, as the parameters. So over here after this self we are going to have comma, and then we are going to have name1. So guys, I am naming this as name1 so that you don't get confused between this name and this name1. So this name1 will be passed as the parameter when this constructor is being called over here, and then followed by comma we also have age1. And then what we can do is for this self, that is the object, followed by dot, we can have name, it is equal to name1 over here, and then again we can have the self followed by dot, and then age, it is equal to age1. So what we are simply doing over here is the name and age attributes of this object, the object is being represented by self, and then self dot name, it will be assigned with the value of this name1 that is being passed. Same thing for the age as well. The self dot age, the value will be passed by using this age1 parameter over here, and both these values will be assigned to name and age attributes. Now guys, when exactly this constructor is being called? So basically whenever you are going to create an object and call this class over here, that is the parrot class, the constructor will be called. So while instantiating this object, we also need to pass the name and age for this particular instance of the class. So what we will do is, let's say we take the same name, that is blue over here. So we provide the first parameter as the name of the parrot followed by a comma, and then we provide the age, that is 2 years old, which is the second parameter. So guys, when the control flow comes over here, it sees that the class is being called with these two parameters, and we also have the constructor. So basically this parrot1 will be assigned to this parameter, that is self, and then this name and age will be assigned to this name1 and age1, and this name and age will be assigned those values respectively. And then we can simply have this print statement in order to print the same statement that we had seen previously as well. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting the same statement, that is blue is 2 years old. That's because we have provided the same name and the same age. Let's say we provide a different name over here. So let's say we provide Wu and it is 5 years old. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. As you can see, Wu is 5 years old is getting displayed over here. So guys, in this way, what we have done is, while instantiating the object, we are passing the values or the attributes that are present inside that class for which the values are getting assigned. Now guys, another important functionality of this constructor is we can also remove these attributes that are being declared. So there is no need of declaring these attributes over here. So I'll just remove these lines of code over here, and what exactly is happening is, while this constructor is being called, the interpreter comes to know that this name and age are the attributes of this class, that is the parrot class over here, and it assigns the values that are being passed to name1 and age1. So to make it more simple, let us say we name this parrot as first parrot over here, for which the age is 2 years old, and let's say I provide another parrot. So I'll just copy this line of code and paste this over here, and then I provide this as parrot2, and then we can say second parrot over here, which is 5 years old. So we'll say 5 years old, and then we will print both the parrots over here inside the print statement. So I'll just copy these lines of code and paste this over here, and then we can say parrot2.name, and then again over here parrot2.age. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, first parrot is 2 years old and second parrot is 5 years old. Both the statements are getting displayed over here. So guys, this is the way that you can define the constructor inside the class by using the underscore init method, and then followed by the self that is being passed automatically as one of the parameters, and then you can have any number of parameters being passed over here inside the constructor, which can be used as the values for the attributes of the class that you have defined, and those values need to be passed whenever you are creating a new object for that class. Encapsulation in Python programming. So guys, encapsulation is one of the key features in object-oriented programming, because encapsulation refers to the bundling of attributes and methods inside a single class. So we have seen so far the the various attributes and methods that we have been creating inside the class, that functionality of the Python programming is called encapsulation. Now it prevents outer classes from accessing and changing attributes and methods of a class. So far we have seen that all the attributes and methods were public in nature, but in this case we are going to create some private attributes which cannot be directly accessed outside the class. So this also helps us to achieve data hiding over here. Now in Python we denote private attributes using the underscore as the prefix. Either we can have the single underscore or the double underscore. So let us check this with the help of example now over here. As you can see in this example, we have the class computer, and then we also have the constructor, that is init, followed by the self, which is the parameter for that object that is being passed, and then self dot max price. So as you can see over here, we have the prefix, that is double underscore, followed by max price. So this is one of the attributes of this computer class over here, and we are providing the value of 900 to this max price over here inside the constructor. Now apart from this constructor, we have more couple of functions inside this class. As you can see, we have the sell function over here, which simply prints the selling price is the self followed by dot and then the max price. So basically this statement will help us in order to print this value, that is the max price value of the computer. And then we have another method, that is set max price, which takes the object that is using the self, and then it also takes the price over here. So in case you want to set another max price for this computer, you can use this set max price function. What it will do is it will simply update the value of the max price of the computer, as you can see with this particular statement. So guys, let us check this with the help of example now. What I will do is I'll simply copy these lines of code, since I'm a little bit lazy in order to type them again. So we are going to paste it inside the VS Code. So over here what we are going to do is we are going to print the max price of the computer. So first of all, we are going to create the object that is comp1 over here, followed by equal to, and then we have the computer class name. So basically, since a constructor is not taking any other parameter apart from this self, which is the object itself, so we need not have to provide any parameter over here while instantiating this object that is comp1. Now what we will do is simply we will call the sell function over here, that is this particular function. So we can use the comp1 object followed by dot, and then we have the sell function. So after this, open and close parenthesis. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So basically this print statement should get executed and it should be displayed on the terminal. So I'll just run this code now. As you can see, selling price is 900. So what exactly happened is, when the control flow came over here, that is comp1, it is equal to computer, the constructor of this class, that is the init method, was called, and inside this what we have done is this private attribute. So guys, basically this double underscore denotes that this is the private attribute of the computer class. So basically this private attribute was initialized inside the constructor, and a value of 900 was being assigned to this particular attribute. And then what we did is, when the control flow came over here, that is while calling the sell function, basically this print statement was executed. So selling price, it is equal to this self dot max price got printed over here, which is 900 right now. Now guys, let us do another thing. What we will do is we will try to access this private attribute from outside of this class. So over here we will call comp1 once again, followed by dot, and then we can call this private attribute, that is the max price. So as you can see, this max price is getting suggested by the VS Code. So we will call this max price, and what we will do is we will try to assign another value, that is 1000 over here, to this max price. And then again, let us say we want to call this print statement. So again we will call this sell method over here. So I'll just copy this line of code and paste this over here. Let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, selling price 900. This is the statement that was printed by calling the first sell method, and then the second time the sell method was called, again the selling price was equal to 900. So guys, why so? That's because this max price is the private attribute, and we directly cannot access this attribute by using this object. We need to have another method inside the computer class in order to assign another value to the private attribute, and that is why we have this method, that is the set max price, along with the parameter price, which it is going to take in order to replace the existing max price over here. So what we can do is we are going to call the comp1 object once again followed by dot, and this time instead of directly accessing this max price, we are going to call this set max price over here. So set max price, and it is expecting two parameters. The first parameter is the self, which is going to be passed by default, which is going to be the comp1 object, and then the second parameter is the price, which we are going to pass to this method. So again what we will do is simply we are going to provide this 1000 price that we try to assign to the max price directly over here. So set max price, and then again let's say we want to print the selling price over here. So again we are going to call the sell method once again. So comp1.sell. So over here the only difference is we are calling the method that is the set max price, and we are passing the value of the new max price over here, which is going to be passed to this price, and then the max price value will be the updated price that we have just set. So guys, let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, selling price 900 and then selling price 900 once again, and the third time that we tried by using the set max price over here, it was 1000. So this time it is selling price, it is equal to 1000. So guys, by using this method in order to set the value of a private attribute, we were successfully able to update the value of this private attribute, and this is the main functionality which we call it as encapsulation as far as object oriented programming in Python is concerned. So guys, let us run this code once again by a different value. Let's say the max price over here we set it to 2000. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So this time the selling price is coming over here once again as 2000. And guys, this is the way in order to hide certain attributes of a class, you can have them as the private attribute by prefixing and use the different methods in order to set their values by using the objects of that class. Multiple inheritance in Python programming. So guys, previously we have seen the single inheritance, but in this video we are going to check the multiple inheritance in Python. So a class can be derived from more than one superclass in Python. Basically this is called multiple inheritance. So basically the derived class will be having the multiple superclasses in this case. So for example, a class bat is derived from superclasses, that is mammal and a winged animal. So basically this mammal and winged animal will be treated as the parent classes, and this bat class will be the subclass or the child class, which can be derived from both of these superclasses over here. So it makes sense because bat is a mammal as well as it is a winged animal. So let us check this with the help of the example code now in the VS Code. So over here, first of all, we will create a class that is called as mammal over here, and inside the mammal what we will do is we will define the function and we will simply say mammal underscore info. So this particular function, it is going to take one parameter, that is self, which is the object itself, and basically we are going to simply print the statement that we are inside mammal function. So as you can see, we are simply printing we are inside mammal function in order to identify that the control flow has come over here inside the mammal info function. And then again we will have another parent class over here, that is winged animal. So we say winged animal over here, and this time what we will do is again we will have the function, but over here we will say winged underscore info. So this particular method belongs to the winged animal over here, and then again it is going to take the parameter as the self, and then again I am simply going to copy this print statement over here and paste this inside the winged info, and we will say we are inside winged animal function. So we say we are inside winged animal function. Now guys, we have created two classes over here which will be treated as the parent classes. Now we will be defining a third class that will be the child class of both these classes. So basically we will have the class that is called as bat over here. And how do we mention the multiple superclasses whenever we are defining the subclasses over here? So basically inside the parenthesis we will have both these classes separated by a comma. So first of all we will have the mammal class over here followed by comma, and then again we will have the winged animal class over here. In the same way you can have any number of classes separated by commas over here in order to achieve multiple inheritance. And then after this we will have the colon, and then again we will have another method which will belong to this bat class over here. So over here we will have the bat underscore info method, and then which will take the self as the parameter, and then we have the colon over here. Again we will have the print statement. We will say we are inside bat function. So it says we are inside bat function. Now guys, inside this bat class we have this bat info function, and apart from this we also have this mammal info and winged info functions, since both these functions are derived from these classes, that is mammal and winged animal over here. So we can access all these functions from the object that we create for the bat class. So let us come out of these classes, and what we will do is, let's say I provide the object that is bat1, it is equal to bat over here. So we have created the object of this bat class in this case, and then when we provide the bat1 object followed by dot, as you can see we are getting all the three functions as the suggestions by the VS Code over here. That's because all the three functions are accessible by this bat1 object over here. So first of all we will say bat info, and then followed by open and close parenthesis, and then again we will say bat1 dot, let's call mammal info in this case. So we have mammal info as well as the third function, that is bat1 followed by dot, and then we have the winged info over here, and then open and close parenthesis. So all these three statements will be printed one at a time based on the functions that is being called by the control flow. So let me just save this file now and try running this code in order to confirm the same. So as you can see, first of all we have called the bat info, so we are inside bat function is being displayed, and then again we are inside mammal function is being displayed. That's because mammal info is being called the second time, and third function is being called, that is winged info, and we are getting we are inside winged animal function. So guys, in this way we have also achieved multiple inheritance over here. In case the functions that you want to use are present in the multiple classes, as you can see over here, you can have multiple classes being inherited by the derived class, which we also call it as a subclass over here, and this bat class is acting as a subclass, and both these classes that are mammal and winged animal are acting as the parent classes. Now guys, let us move to another task over here. What do you mean by method resolution order in Python, that is MRO? So if two superclasses have the same method name and the derived class calls that method, then Python uses the MRO to search for the right method to call. So guys, over here we have seen how multiple inheritance can be achieved, but what if the method names in both the superclasses, that is in the mammal class and the winged animal class, are same? So what we will do is, instead of this mammal info we will keep it as display over here, and instead of winged info again we will call it as display. So basically this time what is happening over here is, both these classes, that is mammal class and winged animal classes, are having the same method name, that is display, and what we are doing, we are creating the subclass, that is bat, and inheriting both these classes, that is mammal and winged animal over here, and this time both these display methods are getting inherited by this bat function. Now which method will be called when we use the object of this bat method? Let us check that. So basically I'll have to remove these lines of code since these functions are no longer present, but instead of that what we will do is, we will say bat1 followed by dot, and then we have another function, that is display. So we have only one function, that's because the name of these functions are same in both the parent classes, and then followed by open and close parenthesis. So guys, over here inside the bat function we have the bat info, which will be called by using the bat1 object, and then the next time what we are doing is, we are using the bat1 object in order to call the display method. Now which display method will be executed out of these two? Let us check that with the help of execution. So I'll just save this file now and try running this code now. So as you can see, we are getting we are inside bat function, which is this statement that is getting printed. That is obvious, that's because we have called the bat info function over here, and next time when we call the display method, it is saying we are inside a mammal function. So guys, basically this print statement was executed, which proves that the display method of the mammal class is being called over here. Why so? That's because when we are creating the child class, the first parent class is being given the highest priority over here. So first the control flow will check whether this display method is it present in the first parent class. If not, then it will go to the second parent class. So over here inside the mammal class, it is finding that the display function is present, and that is what is getting printed over here. So it is the leftmost class that will be used in order to call the method which is present in multiple parent classes over here. So what if we provide winged animal as the first class? So what we will do is, I'll just remove this mammal class from here. On the left hand side we will provide winged animal, and then followed by comma, and then on the right hand side we provide mammal. So over here again we have just changed the order in which the inheritance is being done over here. Both these classes are still the parent classes of this child class, that is bat class. Now let us check which statement will be printed when we call the display method over here. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. As you can see, we are inside winged animal function. So guys, basically this winged animal function, that is display function, was called, and we are getting this statement, that is we are inside winged animal function. That's because this time we have provided winged animal as the leftmost class, and the control flow found this particular display method inside the winged animal class over here, which is the parent class of the bat class. So guys, this is very important. As far as method resolution order is concerned, the leftmost class is being given the highest priority as far as the same names of the methods are concerned. So guys, practice on your own so that on different inputs you get different outputs. Operator overloading in Python programming. So guys, in Python we can change the way operators work for user defined types. So for example, the plus operator will perform arithmetic addition on two numbers. In the same way, it will merge the two list as well, or else if we are dealing with the two strings, then it can concatenate two strings. So the same plus operator can perform multiple operations depending on the operands, whether they are numbers or whether they are strings or list. So this feature in Python that allows the same operator to have different meaning according to the context is called operator overloading. So this we are going to check with the help of examples as well. Apart from this, there are certain special functions in Python. So basically the class functions that begin with the double underscore are called special functions in Python. They are called double underscore functions because they have a double underscore prefix and suffix, such as you can see this init, which can be treated as the constructor of a class. It is one function which starts and ends with the double underscore. In the same way, the plus operator can be overridden by using this double underscore followed by add and then double underscore again and then open and close parenthesis. So guys, let us check operator overloading implementation in action using the VS Code over here. So we'll see the very basic examples first of all. So let's say we have num1, it is equal to 10, and then number 2, that is num2, it is equal to 20. So if we simply print num1 plus num2 over here, so num1 plus num2, so basically it is 10 plus 20, which is 30 in this case. So when we just save this file now and try running this code, so as you can see, we are getting the result as 30. But what if these variables are strings? So instead of numbers, let's say if we enclose them within the double quotes, this means that we have a string over here, that is 10, that is 10, and then over here as well we have another string, that is 20. So when we do num1 plus num2, instead of 30 we will get the concatenation of this string, which means 10 will be followed by 20 in this case when we try to print this statement. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting 10, 20. So guys, we have not changed anything over here. The operator is same and the operands are also same. The only thing is we have changed the values to the string, and that is what operator overloading means. That is, by using the same operator, we can have the different results based on the operands values. Now guys, let us check how operator overloading can be implemented when we are dealing with classes over here. So let's say we have a class that is named as point over here, and this class, let's say we have a constructor inside it. So we have init method inside this. So init method, it will take one parameter, that is self, and what we will do is, let's say it has two attributes over here. So self dot x. So the point class, it will have two attributes, that is x and y coordinates. So over here, let's say we provide the x value by using the parameter that we are getting. So let's say we have x1 over here, and let's say we have y1 over here. So self dot x, it will be equal to x1, and then again we will have self dot y, it is equal to y1 in this case. So whenever we are creating the object by using the point class over here, the constructor, that is init method, will be called along with the 2 points that we will be passing, and those 2 points will be assigned the values to these variables, that is x and y over here. Now guys, in order to override the toString method, we also have another method, that is double underscore and then str. So as you can see, apart from this, we have many other functions that can be used when we provide the double underscore. So VS Code is suggesting us the entire list of functions which we can use in our Python code. So over here we are going to use this str, and then we are going to have our custom code inside this str. So what we are going to do is we are simply going to print the values of this x and y. So how do we do that? We are going to use the formatting part, and then inside this we are going to call the self followed by dot, and then we have x, and then again we have comma over here, and then again we call the self dot y. So over here we are simply printing the x and y values which are separated by the comma over here. And then guys, let's say we want to override the plus operator over here. So before having the function inside the class, what I will do is first of all we will create the object. So let's say p1 is the object name, it is equal to point, which is the class over here, and what we do is we do 1 comma 2, that is x and y values over here. And then let's say we have another point, that is p2, it is equal to point, and then this time we are going to provide the x and y coordinates as 2 and 3 over here. And what we want to do is we want to print the sum of both these points, that is p1 plus p2. So guys, in this case we are using this plus operator, and then these are the operands, that is p1 and p2. So how do we have the custom implementation of this plus operator over here, which we will call it as the operator overloading as well. So as we have seen over here, we have something called as double underscore and then add and then double underscore. So this represents the plus operator as well. So we can use this method inside the class in order to have our custom implementation of addition of both these points. So over here we have def followed by double underscore, and then we have the add method over here followed by double underscore, and then we have the open and close parenthesis, and then inside the parenthesis we will provide the self as the parameter. Now guys, apart from this self parameter, basically when we do p1 plus p2, it is simply p1 dot this particular function, that is we are going to define, followed by this p2 which will be a parameter. So we need to catch this as the second parameter over here. So what we will do is after this self we will have another parameter and we will name it as other over here. So what we can do is over here we can create another variable, that is x, it is equal to self dot x over here, plus we need to use another parameter, that is other, which represents the other point, that is p2 in this case. So over here we will say other dot x in this case, and then the same way we are going to have another variable, that is y, it is equal to self dot y plus other dot y in this case. And then guys, what we have to do is simply we need to return the point of both these values that we have found, that is x and y. So basically return point of x comma y in this case. So we have x comma y. So guys, this is the implementation of our addition operator. We are doing the operator overloading in this case. So basically p1 plus p2, it is same as p1 followed by dot and then the add function being called along with the parameter, that is p2. So in this case this function will be called and it will return point of x comma y, and basically while returning this we are providing the print statement. So behind the scenes this function will be called in order to print the statement. So guys, basically over here instead of the print statement we need to have the return statement over here. So I'll just remove this part over here and we will say return followed by double quotes, and then inside this double quotes we will be using the formatting. So let's say we have 0 and then comma, and then let's say we have 1 followed by dot, and then we have format over here, and inside this format we need to provide the x and y values. So self dot x and then comma, and then we have self dot y in this case. So basically this is the way in which we are going to print the values, that is of x and y. So guys, let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see we are getting the coordinates as 3 and 5. This x and x values are getting added. So 1 plus 2 it is equal to 3, and then 2 plus 3 it is equal to 5. So we are getting 5 over here. So guys, basically what we have done is, if you see the main code over here, we have just defined p1 and p2 which are simply the points, and if we were not having this implementation inside the class, that is the string and the addition part, then we won't be able to add both these points directly, because by default this plus operator can only handle numbers or strings or list over here. But in order to handle the custom classes we need to define the custom functions as well inside those classes, and according to our requirement we can have the code inside those custom functions. Guys, we can also change the formatting over here. In order to change the formatting we can say that x it is equal to this particular thing, and then after comma we can have y it is equal to self dot y part over here. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see we have changed the formatting. x it is equal to 3 and y is equal to 5. So whatever format that you want to print in or whatever code you want to have inside this str method, you can have it accordingly based on your requirements. So guys, this is operator overloading for you. With the same operator you can have multiple implementations and it can have different meanings as far as operands are concerned. Similarly, we have other special functions and the other operator overloading functions as well. As you can see, we have this init which initializes the attributes of the object, which we have already seen as far as class constructors are concerned. Then we have str which returns a string representation of the object. That is what we have implemented over here. It returns a string implementation of the object, that is point x comma y. And then we also have len which returns the length of the object. Then add which adds the two objects. So over here we have implemented the add method which adds two objects over here, which is p1 and p2. That is what we have achieved in this particular program. Apart from that, we also have this call function which calls the objects of the class like a normal function. Guys, apart from this, we can also have other operator overloading functions as well. For addition, we have seen p1 plus p2, which means p1 dot and then underscore add will be called, in which case the parameter will be p2. Similarly, we can have the subtraction, multiplication, the power of two objects, and then we can have division as well, and then we can have floor division, and many other mathematical operations can be achieved by using the operator overloading, just how we have done in this program. So we have come to the conclusion of the Python programming language. Hopefully you have got enough knowledge about the Python language and you should practice on your own so that on different inputs you get different outputs, and that is how you are going to learn more about the Python language. So that's it in this video. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, stay tuned.